All right, guys, today I am here with Mr. Andrew Hawkins from Motive Video now, not
Yeah,
Motive
that's right.
DVD.
DVDs are a little bit, obsolete, right? I mean, I still cherish them. I've got 1,000 DVD movie collection out the back and Blu-ray. But yeah,
Me
they're
too.
done. So the name from Motive DVD to Motive Video kind of needed to happen, right?
Dude, I remember seeing you at a car meet. Would have been an All-Stars event at some point, I think. And I remember, I vaguely remember coming up to you and saying, dude, you got to change it to like Motive DV or something. No, no, not, get rid of the D on the end, or because at that time, like, I think computers were even coming out without a DVD drive.
Yeah, they did, man. I actually remember that. That was a pain in my backside for a little while there when it first happened. But you were right.
Mm,
I will admit I was a little bit slow on the uptake of the transition from DVD to YouTube. But to be brutally honest, the main reason is when Ignition folded, I was broke. Like I had 50
mm.
cents in my pocket. That's another whole story how I started that. I wasn't in a position to make content in my spare time for YouTube to then let that grow. I pretty much had to make DVDs and sell it following on from the Ignition formula or
Yep.
risk just having no income. That's just kind
You
of
were,
the
you were
position I
all
was
in.
in.
You were all in.
Yeah, it's right.
Like, and the thing is, like, you didn't really have any competition either. Like, I remember,
No.
watching a few of the early Motive DVDs, and you had Annette Melton on the show. I'm a huge,
Yeah.
oh my God, she's so amazing. So at that time, I was like, I remember meeting her at a car meet and just nothing came out of my mouth. I was like, oh my God.
That's not common
But
for us to be speechless. So.
I know, right? I know, right? I'm pretty sure whatever came out of my mouth was fucking stupid. But like I just remembered watching it. I was like, fuck, I wasn't so sure about this Andrew guy, but I could watch Annette presenting fucking car stuff. That was rad,
Mate, you wouldn't be the first person that said that about me. Don't you worry.
Dude, that's the funny thing, right? Like I don't exactly remember how we first met. It would have been at a car event,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
surely. But
It would have been a car,
obviously,
mate. It's that long ago now. It's so hard to remember like the exact. I've got heaps of friends like that. You've known them for
yeah,
10, 15, 20 years. So when did you first meet? I'm like, I don't know. Geez, I've met
I don't know.
10,000 people since then. So it's
Yeah.
hard, but it would have been car meets. And like most people, we probably wouldn't have understood each other to begin with, but that definitely changed.
Oh man, like I think like as we got to know each other, and like we'd always say good day at different car events and
Yeah.
different car meets and stuff. And um one thing that I do remember is we'd often talk about haters,
Yeah,
or you'd often bring up the thing about haters, and I think we've both often been misunderstood, in
definitely.
the car scene. I think when
Definitely.
you put yourself out there as an artist, or when you create content, it's under scrutiny, right?
100%.
Like, it's so easy for people to judge, like they're not doing anything themselves. It's almost like an artist, or it's almost like someone going to an art gallery and going, fuck, I could have done that, but
Oh yeah,
they
I got
they didn't do it.
so many meme quotes about haters. Like the first one is, "Have you ever seen a hater doing better than you?" Like who's
Yeah,
doing better than you has time to slam you, right? Like
yeah,
I've always thought about that. And another person once told me the way the world works right now is if you can be rich off 1 million people liking you, who cares if 10 million don't like you?
yeah.
And that's almost proof with a lot of musicians, right? Like there's plenty
Fucking
of
oath.
musicians I think out there that are totally talentless, useless, and pathetic, but I don't go out of my way to tell them that. Who cares? I don't
Yeah,
care what they're doing. But enough people like them for them to be successful, right? So
yeah.
you're always going to have people that don't like you. But I reckon the true definition of a hater is someone who tells you their opinion when it's not asked for. And the best
Yeah.
example is on Facebook. If I post a picture of something going, what's everyone's opinion on this? Should I do it this color or this color? If you give me your opinion, well, then that's fine. I asked for it. But when
Yeah.
you go and comment on something where your opinion wasn't asked for, that's the true definition of a hater to me. Someone that just feels the need to just tell you your car shit, or you did it wrong, or I would have done this. Like, why do they say that, to feel better or something? I don't get it. That's
I've often thought about it, man. Like, I think, like, because social media allows them to not only to have a voice, but then to get likes on their comments.
that's
I
right.
think that's what they're in for. Like, if
Yeah,
they write a hate response to something that you post, and no one fucking likes their post, I think they feel like they've failed.
that's right. And you know what
You know,
humans haven't worked out, right? If you don't like something on the internet, you know what I do? Nothing. Because what's happened now
it's
is
easier. It's
the
better
hater,
to,
it's
yeah,
right, the hater culture. You know, when guys go, I built this car for the haters. No, you didn't. No one
No,
really actually built their car so people would hate it. That's ridiculous. That's not how
no,
the
no.
humans work. The
Yeah,
reason people say I love haters is a hate comment is still a comment, and a comment is still reach, and that's still like growing your social media presence, right? So that's some artists are purely successful from being terrible at music, but really good at being controversial, right? So they get 10
yeah,
million views on YouTube and they go, look at me, I got 10 million views. I'm like, dickhead, you got 10 million views because you got your tits out, or you did something controversial, right? You didn't get
yep,
10 million views because you got talent. Most people watch just to shake their head in shame at you. And that's what's happened in this world now is we now have made people famous for, even though they've got no talent, but they've just done something stupid. Like what's that?
100%.
The catch me outside girl, right? Man, she was paying for appearances and she's just,
Yeah.
no offense, but like she's a bit of a redneck, right? She didn't do anything. She's got no talent. She hasn't got a skill.
There's,
But
there's
this
there's
hater
different ages
culture,
too, though.
yeah. So
If
hater culture is making people famous.
yeah, I mean, there's different ages as well, though. Like, I think everyone's probably more likely to be a hater and a troll when you're younger. Like, I think
Yeah.
if you're growing up with this social media shit where, you know, you're playing in a playground with people that are twice your age or three times your age, but your voice is just as loud.
I know it's a bit
So
strange,
that's
right?
fucking bizarre, man, if you really think about it. Like, I don't think when I was, you read, hey, you do read.
I'm about to start reading this. And this was brought up to me is when you in the magazine days, right? There was an editor.
Mm,
Things got fact checked. An editor looked at it.
yeah,
There was quality control, right? That's all gone now. So the death
yeah,
of the expert filter has been removed from the media world essentially, and everyone's
yeah.
got a voice. Now that's not always a bad thing. But how do you decipher who's full of shit and who's correct? I do my best to try and make our tech videos accurate. I mean, there's always something someone doesn't agree with, but how does the rest of the world know that my stuff's correct and someone else's is wrong? You know what I mean? Like in this, I'm about to start reading this. It's pretty fascinating sort of
It looks
stuff.
good,
Like
yeah.
it's, yeah, I've got
No,
to give it a go. But
no, man. I posted something on something fairly constructive actually on somebody else's YouTube video, and he's got a lot of followers, and it turns out a lot of his followers are young kids. They're like 10-year-olds or something. So now I'm
yeah.
copying hate for writing something slightly negative against this guy. And now I'm getting hate from 10-year-olds in the comments. And dude, I've responded back to some of them because I can't fucking help it. I think it's like the
I know.
bipolar in me. I'm like, just if I just ignore it, I'd have a better day.
It's hard
But
to
then,
ignore though, right?
dude, I'm fucking shit at it. Like, I think I've spent most of all those years in the car scene, I spent like just fighting people, especially on the forums, man. I would fight. Sometimes there'd be like 3 pages of some guy and myself fighting. And you could see like in the stats that this is getting thousands of views, but people have got their popcorn out, bro.
Oh yeah,
They're literally this is entertainment for people. They're
yeah.
checking it out, hitting the refresh button to see what the next person's gonna say.
And then there's that guy that has to put another little comment to like resurrect it, who's purposely doing it.
Oh
And you
yeah,
never
yeah,
know
yeah.
who's trolling for fun, who's trolling because they're angry, who's trolling because that's just how they live. You just don't know. Like you know what? Facebook needs a sarcasm font. So if you type it in that font, I read it and go, oh, he's being sarcastic. Cool. I know
Comic
that now.
Sans.
So, but it's
Yeah.
just everything. It's like chicks with text messages, right? Like they can write something and you can take it one way and they go, no, I didn't mean that. I meant total opposite. Like you just...
Being misunderstood, man. But that's the thing. I think that's been really difficult. Probably, I would assume for both of us in that
Yeah.
like our target audience is filled with such a wide age group,
Yeah,
and we know who our mates are in real life.
that's right.
They're people who we respect and they respect us, and it's a mutual respect that we're
100%.
aiming for, you know. But
I
then you
agree.
have
Like it's I've had death threats on live streams and stuff from people
hey,
who
fucking
just,
yeah,
oh,
that's
dude, I've had everything. I've
nasty
been called
shit,
everything.
right?
I've had people, I've had everything from, I hope you die. I know why your ex left you.
What the
Yeah,
fuck,
you're a fat
man?
conniving piece of shit. Like I've been called fucking everything, dude. Like to the stuff that makes you go, wow, that's the type of thing that makes people commit suicide. Like I've had that
If you're
type
not
of
strong
comments.
enough, yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
if you're
if you're
not
not
strong
strong
enough, it's
enough,
hard,
yeah,
man. But I'd like I hate to say this, this is probably embarrassing to admit, but in high school, in my high school yearbook, it said that Andrew Hawkins has an unfallible ego and often tells the aeronautics instructor when he's wrong. Unfortunately, Andrew is actually usually right. Like, I've just
That's
always
cool.
had that, like, whatever, bro. Like, if someone
Yeah,
says something constructive, I take it on board and it means
100%.
something. But just general hate, you just go, whatever, bro. But not everyone
Oh,
can do that, man. Like, and that's sad. Like that, the fact that
yeah.
just because I can handle it doesn't make it okay to write it. You know what I mean? Like, it's, man, if you read some of the stuff I've been called, like since social media existed, but when you put yourself out there, I get it. You expect
Yeah.
some of it, but it doesn't make it right, man. Like it's out
Yeah,
of
it's fucking
control.
nasty. And sometimes it's obvious as well when they're writing it. It's obvious that they're not thinking about their sisters or their
No.
partners, or they're not thinking about their parents. It's like their parents didn't fucking put all that energy in for
No.
you to go out and spit hate like that. Like
And they also think
you
it's
know.
not personal. They think you won't see it. They
Mm,
think that maybe I've had people like slam me on someone else's post, and then I'm like, I just like reply, hey, just to
yeah.
kind of so you know what, like the real person's seeing what you're writing.
Yeah.
And you also work out very quickly who's a conniving piece of shit behind your back, and who's not. But then you realize this doesn't really matter. Like this whole car scene thing, man. If I didn't talk to people or do business with people that have said something about me behind my back in the last 10 years, like you'd lose half your business, right? Like it's just
True, hey.
human nature. Sometimes they talk a bit of crap, but then you become friends later. And I also drop a grudge as easy as I let comments fly off my back, and I have to, man. Like that's just the way it is. Like, so I try my best to not, like, you know, give people shit, talk behind their back. I try my best, but human nature, sometimes you can't help it,
Yeah,
right?
we're all judgmental, and
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, that is what I like though about like every time that you and I've caught up, there is no filter. Like
No,
we've talked about the scene as a whole, people
yeah,
within the scene. It's not getting fucking recorded, you know. It's like
that's
that's why with this recording, try not to mention any names, right? Because we'd be in so much trouble if we
oh,
didn't
dude.
have a filter at all. Like I've learned, like, just don't mention names. You can mention stories, but
That's right.
you,
I've got
you
so
know,
many stories, so many secrets. It's ridiculous.
yeah. But dude, like in the past, like if anyone ever came up to me and said something negative about you, I always bring up a story, right? I remember I was at Eastern Creek and you were running a drift event. And drifters have been a pain in my ass, man, because they're like the extremists.
Yeah,
They're a group that are like they're like the Antifa or the BLM, man.
yeah,
They're extreme and they're really hard to control. Like they are, you know, you tick one of them off, you tick all of them off.
100%.
And I remember seeing you running this event, and I don't know how you fucking did it, but you had them all sitting there in silence, listening to you, and you were saying what they had to do, what they could do, what they couldn't do. You know, they were just about to start up their sessions, you know,
Mm.
and that's so. It looked like a classroom, but a really well behaved classroom. And like, I didn't know you at that time, I think, but my impression was, holy fuck, this guy is commanding these absolute brats, you know, like for you to actually hold court over them, and you know, to get your message across and to make sure that it all was going to work right. I was just impressed, man. I respected it straight
Cheers,
away.
man. Look, I
So
you know what? That I remember that a lot, and it's right. Like getting drifters to listen and sit quiet for 5 minutes is like asking a classroom full of all of the ADHD kids, the
I was
kid,
about to say,
the bullies, and all the problem kids in one room trying to control. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I always link back with that is the same. It's same as kind of dealing even with drag races, right? And I don't take this the wrong way because it's like a cultural stereotype, but you know the lebos, right? They're hard to control and talk to as well. And everyone I've
Fucking
learned
oath.
with
That would
drifters,
be.
lebos, and any other sort of like, I guess, boisterous, loud personalities in the car scene is too many people just try to keep telling what they can't do. You can't do
Yeah.
this. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't.
Yeah.
That's not what they want to hear. What they want to hear is if you do this, you will get this. And that's how you got to get them, right? If you guys do exactly what I ask, I'll film it and make you a superstar. And they go,
Yep.
yeah, right. But if you fuck up, I won't film you and you'll be a nobody. And the guy next to you will be a superstar. That's actually been a huge leverage point to get people to do what you need them to do is human nature with a done up car, right? You want to be
You
the
just
man.
want to
So
fucking, yeah, you just
yeah,
want to be
and
the
it's
rebel. You want to show off. You want to,
yeah,
my car's fucking louder than everybody
that's
else's,
right.
sounds better. And Dude, that's the same thing with the meats. You know, like
Yeah.
it's always been like that. It's always been like just a lack of education, lack of respect for the scene as a whole, or as a meat as a whole, and it only takes a couple of people to
Ruin it.
do something that ruins it for everyone. But they
100%.
might not have intentionally done it. It's just that they didn't think twice. That's all.
Or that the ego takes over from the brain. Like, and that's just human nature for a lot of people, right? It's always that battle between your ego and your logic fighting each other of what's the better thing to do. You know, like it's some people just can't help themselves. Once there's a few people around, they've just got to act a fool, right? Like it's just
Well,
I can't help it.
How do you feel about that in general? In that, like the industry or the scene that we've been in for so many years, it's so not a normal thing, man. It's like it's almost like I think about all those years I spent in advertising, and it's only recently that I'm starting to think, holy fuck, why would I put myself in an industry where nearly every single person in the world hates ads? What a shit like uphill fucking battle that was to be passionate about it and be political and good, you know, and be and do great ads and stuff. And now it's like it's an introspective kind of thing, but I've been thinking about the car scene too. And fuck, man, like that being younger and not giving a fuck and doing whatever the fuck I wanted and supporting it all. And then now, just like if I drive a modified car, I'm like paranoid about cops, and it's a growing up thing, but it's also like realizing that what we're promoting, most of it's like illegal.
Yeah.
And
it depends
I
on
mean,
your
how do
attitude,
you feel about that, man? Because it's like you're still going, you're still modifying cars, but in a time where it's so much harder to get away with it now.
Look, of course, when I was younger, I illegal street raced when I was 18, had my license. Like, of course I
Hickson
did,
Road,
right? Like,
even, right?
but I've learned, like I learned from it. I was lucky. I mean, I like to think that in the world of being illegal, I was at the smart end of it, time and place, right? Like I didn't want to hurt anyone. I didn't want to do it in front of like showing off. I went for an hour's drive out of the city, either in Canberra or Perth or whatever. I went for an hour out to street race in a road that had a lookout at each end. And like, I tried to be at the smarter end of illegal stuff, right? But you know, it wasn't about doing it in the middle of doing a burnout in the middle of Brighton and getting arrested. Like it was, I wanted to actually race, but there wasn't always a drag strip available. And it was just that cool street racing vibe, I guess. But as you get older, like you said, man, like now I promote on the track. I go to the track heaps. I do all sorts of stuff. I've taught drifting. I do rally sprints, circuit days, time attack, drag racing. I started the event at Cootamundra so that people who had GDRs that got booted from the track had somewhere to go. Now, drag strips didn't like that because I was promoting cars that didn't have safety gear they needed. But let's face it, if I didn't let 9-second GDRs, or at the time, even 10-second GDRs that got booted from the track, go to Cootamundra and race, they were going to race on the street, right?
Yeah. It's still a grassroots. That's the thing. Like, I think the grassroots thing is kind of always where I've been too. And that's where, that's like you said, right time, right place. Like that is the right place.
That's right.
Like I believe, like, you know, if you have a majority of people now not doing the kind of mods that we were doing, because now they're too scared to do it. So now, you know, you had a whole phase of people just painting their wheels with plasti dip and shit, and putting sticker bombing in their cars because it was so much more legal to do that.
That's right.
Than the kind of shit that we were doing.
You can still modify your car now. It's going to be smarter. Like I've got a new Supra, and that's going to be a perfect example of modifying smarter. Factory diameter wheels, but wider. So there's nothing illegal on the outside. It's wrapped with a lip spoiler and wheels, so it looks killer, I think, and brand new car that looks good already. But all of the engine modifications will be invisible, like a downpipe, high flow turbo, different charge pipe, different charge cooler radiator, and a flash tune on ethanol. And the thing can run a 10-second pass on drag radials, or even a high 9 on drag radials, right? But when you pop the hood, it looks stock. Yeah, that's the thing. All these Golf Rs and AMG A45s, RS3s, etc. These things can run 10s and look stock. So
that is modification now, though. That's the thing.
That's right.
It's like we used to spend like maybe half a day at a dyno trying to tune a Power FC, and now it's just like plug it in, 15 minutes and
quick run to check it, and it's done. Right? Like it's
different time.
Even I'll admit I'm pretty new to this like modern tech Euro style tuning. Right? Like I'm still used to, I need a GTX 3582 and Howtech Elite for my GDR. And I know what I mean? Like I know all that 90s, 2000, early 2000s Japanese stuff backwards, right? Know
Yep.
exactly
Yep.
what
Yep.
to do to any JDM car. But this new
Yep.
Euro stuff, I'm kind of enjoying it now. Like, and I hate to say this, but I'm pushing 40. And I remember when I was 20, if you walked up to me at a 20-year-old and said, "Oh man, look, why don't you get something a bit more modern and comfortable with a good
I know,
auto
right?
transmission?" I'd laugh and go, "Piss off, idiot! It's got to be manual
Yeah.
or nothing." But
Yeah. Yeah.
now I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to drive my 32 GDR around on the streets every day. I don't even want to. Like, to me, driving a highly modified, which will probably be 1100 when I get it back, but 900 horsepower GDR with a sequential and a cage and everything, it's an occasion when you drive it, right? It's an
Yeah.
occasion. Like, that is like a big occasion. Just to even drive it for 20 minutes, that's like, roll out the red carpet, the GDR's coming out, but that's what I want to do when I want to go for a drive. But the idea of having to drive it because I have to go somewhere, no
Yeah.
way. I
No.
hate it. I hate it
No.
now. As a 39-year-old, I'm like, give me my Supra with Alcantara interior, dead quiet inside with automatic gearbox. And the modern cars, though, the good thing is in normal mode, they're a luxury car. Press sport, bam.
Fucking
Performance car.
especially the European cars, man.
Oh man,
Like
incredible.
we've just never had that. Like I think with I had more of a Honda sort of background, so you just got the blinders on, that's all you know is VTEC and all this stuff, and then your plasticky dashes, your thin doors and stuff. It's just what you were used to.
But we
And
still
then
love it.
no,
But it's just not daily driver anymore for us.
it's a really romantic thing, is all I can
It
say.
is. It is.
It's like yeah, you can easily hate the Euro stuff if you've never tried it.
Yeah, 100%.
But when you own one and you have all the creature comforts
100%.
and you have the sportiness, it's a sportiness about it, but it's not raw.
No.
You can make a Euro car raw, but you'd have to take a lot of weight off it. You'd have to strip it out.
Yeah.
But there's something nice about, another thing that you're talking about the automatic gearboxes or DSG or whatever. Like, it got to a stage where in my GTR at the traffic lights next to an old lady in a Merc, I'd actually have to fucking launch this thing if I want to. Like she just has to floor the pedal.
That's right.
And it's like, I don't know. It's gotten there, like for the 35 to come out without a manual gearbox, the whole internet fucking lost their shit or whatever.
Oh, they hated it.
But man, when I drove one for the first time, I was like, holy fuck, this thing's amazing. So
what I say to people that go, like, for example, let's say PDK in a Porsche, right? A GT3 RS with a PDK. Everyone whinged it wasn't manual. And I say to people, mate, if you're driving a Porsche GT3 RS flat out through old pack, do you ever stop and go, geez, I wish I was taking my left hand off the steering wheel and changing gears and driving slower than what this PDK can? Some people say yes, but me personally, I'm like, I've driven heaps of exotics in America at the track. I don't stop and think, geez, I wish this was manual. Because once you've driven really good PDKs and driven with sequentials and all this good stuff, you actually, I actually don't even, I'm going to say, some people are going to hate me for this. The idea of driving a 5-speed synchro GDR makes me go, nah, no thanks.
I'd rather, I mean, look, sequential, there you go. That's a great argument for it.
Like, honestly,
like a lot of race cars, the best race cars in the world is sequential, and you're not, I don't know. I just get though, like sometimes, like, if I do get to drive a manual, which is very rare these days, when I do, it's so fun though. Like it's like there's a dance to it, where, like, when you can match your revs with like hard braking and stuff like that, it's just like that. You can't get that from.
But that's the thing is, I agree that a manual is only worth, like, I guess, all that work over, say, a PDK or an auto is when you're driving it flat out. So, but how often are you driving your road car flat out when you live in Sydney? Like, so my track cars are all manual. The idea of owning anything that's not a manual in my track car is preposterous. My WRX is a 5-speed synchro short ratio box with 4 4s, right? I love driving that thing. It's like, you're right, there's a dance to getting that thing right. And I love it. I'm going to have sequential in the GDR, sequential in the Silvia, paddle shift sequential in the R33. Like, all these cars, like, they're all manual. They got to be, right? But the Supra is the best example. When you're driving around in auto, perfect luxury, but The autos are so good now that when you put that into sport and paddle shift mode, the lock-up torque converter, it's has got as sharp a shift as any DSG. And
Yeah,
you get
Carter was telling
flat
me
out,
he
right?
drove
Like
your car and he
yeah.
liked it. He liked downshifting in it. But you know, I think the first thing that I noticed in having a Euro car that sounds fucking amazing, but with paddle shifters, is like if I'm driving around in the city and I see my mates on the sidewalk, I can't just clutch in and go, you know, and like get their attention, you know, like it's the little things, man.
Yeah.
It's like doing having that little MX-5, you know, and just doing like hook turns and like
Yeah.
little drifty turns because I just clutch in and just build up the revs
But now
and
we're worried
spin
we're
the
going to get
wheels a
arrested
bit.
for
And
it. That's the
that's the
problem. Like,
thing. There's a romance to it, and there's a skill level that you build up with a manual car, right? Like
100%.
when you know, and that skill level is it's not there in a DSG car. And like you take a DSG, like when I was taking the Golf, I had a GTI that I stripped out and it was like track spec. And I took that out to Wakefield. And if you look at your lap times, they're all like 1 sec apart because you're so consistent in this thing. Like you just
That's
hit the
right.
paddle 3 times and you're in second gear.
That's right.
Whereas you know what it's like in a manual,
Oh,
one lap
yeah.
will
I
be like
definitely
3 or 4 secs difference because you fucked up a corner somewhere
Yeah,
because you
100%.
misshifted or something or
And I grew up on manual. I learned in a manual. My first car,
yeah,
my first done-up car, MX-6 Turbo was a manual. Then my Sylvia was a manual. I've owned,
right.
I've owned a drift car that's a H pattern manual. I did time attack with my S14 as a H pattern manual. So trust me,
There
like
you go.
I've got that skill and I love driving it. But I guess maybe I'm a bit spoiled because I have driven some pretty serious shit. Like,
Yeah, you would
I've
have.
driven a blueprint spec Falcon supercar, the sequential. I've driven an Audi GT3 car, like an R8 GT3 with paddle shift. I've driven Carrera Cup cars, Lamborghini
Yeah,
GT3. Like once you
yeah.
drive them with a proper paddle shift, like pneumatic sequential, then you're like, man, this is just top end stuff, right? And you're concentrating so hard on driving at the limit of that car that you don't
That,
actually miss having a H pattern because you're
that's what I
focusing
mean.
on the
I
lap
think
time.
it's more. Yeah, well, exactly. You just nailed it. Like I think the idea, like getting a perfect lap or a good lap in a manual, feels more satisfying, and it's harder to do, but it's more
Yeah.
consistent in the pedal shift. And one of the most exciting things about going to the track for me is beating your PB. So if you want to beat
100%.
your PB and you're in a paddle shift car, then you can concentrate on it some more,
Correct. You get to
right? So
concentrate on it.
I do get that it's 100% faster. There's no argument there. I think it's more efficient. You're probably way less tired at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's definitely in terms of motorsport, 100%. But I
Yeah.
think like as I get older, you tend to romance a lot. You tend to think about things romantically. You start to get to that point in life where you sound like the grumpy old guy that's like, oh fuck, you know, I love your old stuff better than your new stuff. You
Yeah.
mentioned musicians before, right? Oh fuck, I love your old album, your new one sucks, you know.
It's gonna be the
But
same with us car people too, like, and it's like
yeah,
reminiscing about old. I actually had a fan of ours who had a whole bunch of old Hot Fours mags, and I said I'm trying to rebuild my collection after a flood. I lost a bunch of mags like 10 years ago,
damn,
and I
yeah,
just got 150 issues of Hot Fours all the way back to like issue 30, and I couldn't help myself yesterday. I started flicking through, and just that
that's
nostalgia
so
just
cool.
comes flooding back. I'm trying to become like a curator of the Australian import car scene by trying to rebuild all the collection of old mags
Open
and
up a fucking
DVDs. And
museum, man.
one day, don't you worry, I'll be this crusty 60-year-old dude walking around about, do you know how good the 90s were and early 2000s in our scene? So, and have all that stuff. But yeah, like it's the nostalgia is a big thing. But coming back to that manual thing, I think the more I think about it talking to you, I think the more I realize is you drive a 300 horsepower Sylvia, I'd rather a H pattern because it's more engaging. But once you
Mm.
got like a 700 horsepower time attack Sylvia,
Yeah,
you need
yeah,
the sequential, right? Like you
100% with you.
need it to go fast and it's a better experience. And I think a GDR is the same. It's like
Mm.
if I compare my GDR over the years, when it had a Jet Trag 6-speed with close ratio gears and a medium, like a smaller turbo and made 600 horsepower, it was a weapon fast. It was excellent. But if I had that Jet Trag with 1,000 horsepower, I wouldn't like it, and I'd go, man, I need a sequential. So
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think like that whole synchro manual box, there's a sort of like I guess a performance scope from like here to here, where it's more engaging and more fun to have a synchro H pattern. But then you kind of reach a point at which you go, nah, this needs a sequential box.
I think you just nailed it again because I've had like 4 Honda Jazzes or maybe 5, and one of
You've
them
had
was
more Jazzes
manual.
than I've had GDRs. You know that, right?
Actually, two of them were manual, but the one manual that was set up like a track car, but it was stock engine, which is like a bullshit engine, right? It's like it's like a carton of milk. Um, that thing not only stopped faster because I could use the gears. Because these things come with drum brakes in the back, so the automatic is the CVT is so like it gets this momentum going, but it's so dangerous. It's really hard to stop these cars.
Right.
And like, just say you're pulling out onto a highway and there's fucking trucks coming. In the auto, it takes forever to get speed up. It's like you think you're gonna die because this car's gonna hit you in the ass. Whereas the manual, it was just better in every way. So I think in an underpowered car,
100%.
having a manual gearbox it just feels more old school too, man. If I think back about high school and all of us were just starting to buy cars, it was like there was only manual cars. Like
That's right.
just
And the
get a
idea of
manual
owning
car
an auto was ridiculous because autos were terrible then.
oh,
Because they
the
were.
slush box and
Slush box, that's right.
yeah. But I
Auto
mean,
technology's changed a lot, man. A lot.
oh yeah. But I think still like um if I was to get something, for 5K, 10K just for fun, it probably would be another MX-5.
Yeah.
Rear wheel drive, manual gearbox, and just to have some shits and giggles
Oh,
on
they give you
rainy days,
giggles. I got a good story for that. So I'd never driven an MX-5 around a racetrack or even at all, right? And I was that
You're a bit
typical.
tall for one, aren't
Yeah, I
you?
know. Like I has to have roof off when I drive, right? So luckily the person's one that I drove is tall, but I was at Wakefield and I was driving WRXs and Evos or something with MRT or whatever, right? And when I was, believe it or not, more arrogant and outspoken than I am now when I was younger. Can you believe it? So I was very vocal about the whole, if it hasn't got turbo, it's rubbish, and be a real man, have power, all that sort of stupid crap, right? And then Mark Bakula walks over and goes,
Pakula.
he goes, have you ever driven an MX-5? Like that real, like that look, like I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
well, no, why would I? And he goes, I dare you to take it for a lap. And then I'm going to watch you smile when you get back. Like real creepy. Like
He hands his keys hilarious. Out to everyone, man. He's a converter.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'll try an MX-5. And I'd just driven Evos and Rexys all day, right? Like, so, spinning lap times pretty good. And so I jump in the MX-5 and I took 3 corners, I reckon, before I had a big grin on my face, laughing like an idiot. Didn't care what the lap time was. Didn't even ask. Got back and just got out laughing. And Pakula goes, told you.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, and you know what? While I'm on that topic, the Toyota 86 is another big example, I think,
it's so good
of that, right? So when they came out, I got a press car for like 2 weeks, did everything with it. I did Nasho, I did a Skid Panda, I did Marulin, I did Wakefield. I've done everything in it. And the best example is I let a mate of mine drive it who's an insurance broker. And he doesn't know how to drive the way I know how to drive, right? It's just the reality of life. His version of fast is my version of like, dude, that's my outlap, like,
yeah.
He got out of it and goes, oh, what an underpowered piece of rubbish. And I said, well, you know why you said that? He goes, why is that? I said, because you didn't drive it hard enough. Like,
that's it.
So if you know how to drive, an 8.6 through Nasho is actually really, really fun if you know how to drive well enough. But if you don't,
dude, it'd be dangerous through there.
Yeah, it is.
Like those stock tires was what made that car so fun.
That's right.
And so many people started getting wider rims and sticky rubber. I'm like, you've just ruined the car. Yeah. Like a mate of mine had a BRZ out at Wakefield, and he's only ever driven like Hondas and front wheel drives before that. And he bought this BRZ out, and at the end of the day, he said, "Do you want to have a go?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, hand me the keys." And I said, as soon as we were just warming up, I was like, "Oh, dude, were you drifting this thing around or what?" He goes, "Yeah, fuck yeah, man, so many times, I was drifting and stuff like that." And I didn't realize how slippery these cars are. So first lap out, last corner, complete opposite lock, just kept it buried down because it felt like an MX-5. And it did this huge drift, and he was slapping his knee, giggling out loud. He's like, "Oh, fuck." And I'm like, "Oh, so you weren't drifting this thing." You think you were, but all you were doing were little like, oop, oop, But holy shit, that car was fun. Like I got black flagged, had to come in, and they're like, "You're not allowed to drift out here." I'm like, I wasn't trying to. This car is so slippery.
Man, I've had the no drifting sign pointed at me as I'm leaving the pits. Don't you worry. Like before I even like put the foot down, it's like, we're watching you, mate. So, but
Yeah.
like Mighty Car Mods obviously just did the whole BRZ
Yeah.
thing, and they cop heaps of hate 86s and BRZs, and I think that's just, it's kind of like R33 GDSTs, right? So many people had them that it kind of ruined it for GDRs, and so many 86s are owned by. It doesn't worry me, but like it's just that consensus that every single 86 owner or BRZ owner is a P plater with a vape, right? Like, I guess it's half true, but it's not totally true. But people are now hate the car because it's popular, which is just a weird human nature thing. Let's hate it because it's popular. And I'm like,
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the hate, man. I just think they're great cars. Like, I pick one up
though. I reckon they're an awesome car. I reckon an 86 is a sick car. Don't be surprised if the first time a registered driving one comes up for under 10 grand, I'll probably go get it.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Third hand one. Fuck, just get it as a grocery getter and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be good fun.
I will own one at some stage. It just, I guess the queue of cars downstairs is probably a little bit too big at the moment. I think I've got as many cars as someone who's a full-time YouTuber, but I'm only a 20% time YouTuber. So it's
dude, that's another thing. Like, last end of month meet, I said g'day to you, and like, this guy that was with me, he liked you, by the way. He totally liked you, but like when he was a shy guy, so he didn't say anything. But like within 5 minutes, you were talking about having 10 cars and the Porsche and all this stuff like that. And I can see where someone that doesn't know you at all could look at that and think that you were boasting, but you're not, because you and I have a history, and why would we do small talk when we can just fucking just talk?
That's right. We just tell what's going on.
Exactly. So I think that's what's happening to us, because we're both so opinionated. We're both like prolific with content creation, you know?
Yeah,
like I saw your YouTube channel yesterday. I think I had a look, and you're getting fucking good views, man, considering the platform's fucking dead.
It is actually. You're right. It is dead right now.
God, it's dead, man. Like, even when I was running ZEN, Facebook was we were getting a million reach per week.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just turned it off and turned on like, oh, if you want to reach those people, you got to boost your posts, and it's gone.
YouTube right now, from a year ago, you have to do 4 times the work to get the same views and money as a year ago. And when COVID hit, I used it as an excuse to do more on my YouTube channel, because there was JobKeeper here. I lost 70% of my turnover due to COVID, not just because of the events that I run, but I work for everyone else to film their events. There's actually events people don't even know that I cover for them and make their content. So I knuckled down to do that. And I thought, hell yeah, I'll probably better double, triple my views. And it cranked to begin with early in the year, and it's just died. But apparently it's all algorithm based. People are watching conspiracy theories and COVID this and election that and all this other crap. And it's not just me that's down. If you talk to any big YouTuber, at least they'll tell me, they might not say it publicly, but YouTube views are probably down by half for no reason that they can work out other than just algorithms.
No, but they're going down every year. Like, that's the thing. Like,
there's more to watch. There's more places to get things.
Well, no, now there's like, well, first it was Netflix, and then now there's all these other platforms like Netflix, right? So I don't think people use YouTube. I mean, imagine television. That'd be even more dead right now.
There's a television?
Yeah, exactly, right. I don't even fucking have TV. But I think that's just what's happening. Like I almost look at Netflix as being like Bunnings, and how they destroyed all the small hardware shops that you have in every suburb. You know, on the corner of every street, there was a fucking little hardware shop run by an old Greek guy or something. And I think that's just what's happened, man. And I think like having to somehow pay AdSense and shit to get your videos up front, I don't know. But at the same time, I see so many people trying to start up a new YouTube channel.
Oh, everyone wants one now, right? It's easy, apparently.
Well, no, dude, it's easy to start one, but I check out their channels, and like their videos get 4 views.
Yeah.
And it's like then they've released episode 70, and that one's only getting 4 views or 15 views. I'm like, part of it is
Facebook won't let you promote it. Like, you share a YouTube video on Facebook, you get no reach.
Yeah, isn't that fucking weird too? It's all a conspiracy, but it's like, I feel like this oversaturation, it's almost like everyone's waiting for the next big platform, but it's not really coming, because
it's not coming.
Yeah,
They
it's not like
can't.
how Facebook came out and everyone's like, "What the fuck is this?"
It
And
was
then boom,
totally new.
and then and then YouTube comes out and everyone's like, "What the fuck is this?" And then boom, and then Instagram's dying too. By the way, like my reach
Yeah.
on Instagram is fucking
Yeah.
shit.
Mine's dead.
Um, I don't know. And the next platform might really be expensive. It might be Netflix. Like you need to create a
Yeah.
show. Your shows need to get onto Netflix. And you know, like a lot of these cooking shows and stuff like that. These restaurants were open maybe 5-7 years ago, and only now have their Netflix special come out
Mm,
because it took fucking that long to get it onto Netflix.
that's
And
right.
some of these restaurants are gone already.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, huh? And the thing is, like, I think what you said is right. Is when COVID hit, there was like overnight another million people started a YouTube channel because everyone thought they were going to be the next famous
Mm,
person. I thought I missed the boat because I took a little too long to make YouTube my only priority compared to DVD. Right?
right,
I
right.
missed the boat while I watched other people grow to 2 million
You,
subscribers, and I always say to
you
myself,
started
should have done
later.
that. I started later,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's hurt me. But on the flip side, one thing I will say about my YouTube channel that a lot of people definitely misinterpret watching is some people just think all I do is YouTube. They don't realize I have a video production company. My
that's
day
right.
job
That's
is
right.
video
Yeah.
production for clients to make
Yep.
things that you don't see. All you see is my YouTube. I'm lucky if I can spend a day a week on my YouTube channel. And even doing that sends me slowly broke.
Yeah.
All those cars I've bought
Yeah.
out of my own
It's for
pocket
nothing.
from
It's for
working
nothing.
hard, right? But on the flip
Yeah.
side, I will admit this, and talking to other YouTubers, it's the same. The actual ad revenue from YouTube right now for me is almost inconsequential. Like it almost means nothing. But keeping high quality on my YouTube channel, where lots of people have said, "Dude, drop the quality, do more content." I'm like, nah. Now I have lots of companies that come to me because I did my own tech videos on YouTube that were, higher production level than what 99% of other people do and are. I now have companies like, Garrett hire me to do tech videos for them. Like
Yeah,
I
of
go to
course.
SEMA and make everyone's product videos, and companies like Newlon, Royal Purple, all these big companies hire me because of what that sort of quality of production that we have, and also the reach that our YouTube channel gives them for their stuff as well. It's kind of like they kind of work together in harmony. Like the Motive YouTube channel and the Jet Multimedia production company kind of can work together. Not only can I make you a video, I've got somewhere I can release it for you to get some views. So
Well, that's where you want to be too. It's just a platform.
that's
You know,
right.
like you're just creating another channel. And then I've always realized that with Zen Garage as well, is that
Mm,
you get to a point where, oh, if a brand needs help and they're looking for help, I could work with them and then promote it on my various channels. And
correct.
it's quite appealing, isn't it? When, I even remember like in 2011, 12, like they were specifically calling me a social media influencer. I'd never fucking heard of
I
the
hate
term
that fucking
before.
word.
I
Don't.
know,
I
right?
hate
And
it.
that's the thing. Like I didn't know what it was, and now in retrospect, I think like, fuck, that's an embarrassing title. Only because of how saturated it is
I
these
think
days.
that's the
Like,
problem. It's that stigma. I will admit, though, technically, I do influence people because they
yeah,
watch our YouTube channel. And I had
yep, yep,
so many comments and
yep,
messages to people who go, I built my GDR the way I did from watching your channel. So I
yep.
have influenced them. But
You are an influencer, but you just
yeah,
don't want to be called
I
or
just don't want to be called.
titled.
And I'm like, no, I own a video production company, events management
Exactly.
company, and a YouTube channel. That's what I do.
Exactly.
So when I
Exactly.
meet someone, I go, oh, what do you do? I don't go, I'm a YouTuber. I never fucking say that. I always go,
Yeah.
what do you do? I own a video production company and an events management company. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like that's if YouTube closed tomorrow, I'd still have work. And that's the biggest difference between me and other YouTubers. Other YouTubers, if
Yeah.
YouTube closed tomorrow, they're fucked. But
Well,
if I
that's what I was gonna say. Like about 10 years ago, you had all these channels that were like gaming channels that I was watching and shit like that, and they'd make a video about, oh look, I just fucking bought my first house,
yeah,
uh, thanks to you guys. And it's
yeah.
like then
What's
then
it?
a couple of years after that, they were like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
being
I know it's
demonetized, and I can't pay
yeah,
for the mortgages, and I've got a Patreon now, guys. Please support me on Patreon.
yeah.
I'm like, good
Or
luck with that.
not every YouTube channel stays on top. I'll give you an example where a lot of people don't realize what happens at the back end of YouTube. Do you remember the YouTube channel Drive? And it was
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah,
awesome, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah.
was paid for by YouTube. YouTube funded it. They put $2
There
million
you go.
behind it to
There
begin
you
with,
go.
right?
There
So
you go.
when
Yeah.
YouTube pulled the funding, remember they did that whole, what are we going to do now? And then they just vanished because they couldn't work out how to fucking monetize it properly. And they couldn't.
Yeah.
So that's why they had such good content. You would be shocked how many YouTube channels out there that you don't realize have been funded by YouTube or given a boost by YouTube. I've had fucking zero boost.
100%.
And you
Yeah.
don't realize that
Promoted to
that's
the front
happened.
page.
Yeah, there are people right now boasting how well their YouTube channel is doing, how well it's grown, and I know for a fact that some deals have been done to put them on the trending page they didn't earn. Like, I fucking know what goes on, but
Yeah.
I just haven't bought into that, and I'm not whinging about it because it's smart. If I had $1 million behind me to go to YouTube and go, I'll give you $500,000 if you put me on the trending page every day for the rest of the year, well, I'd do that. Like, Donut Media had millions behind them to start.
Well, you're in it, so that's the thing. Like, as
That's
soon as
right.
you're out of it, that's when that opportunity will never arise, right? Like, that's the
Correct.
thing. Like you know, I watch the Joe Rogan podcast. No one's famous until they're on the show. Once they're on the show, their fucking podcast goes through the roof.
That's right.
So sometimes it is just about being in it, and you know, you might only get some of these guys might only get 4 views on their videos, but they're still trying. They're still in there.
But make it for fun. If you're not like,
Yeah.
everyone thinks that YouTube paid for my cars. It fucking flat out didn't. I don't make
Yeah,
enough on
yeah.
YouTube to even pay for the time that we spend filming and editing the project cars. So in theory, the parts are either A, sponsored, or B, I bought them. Period. Right? There's
It's a really good segue, man, because I think like you and I, we haven't exactly butt heads, but you know that the way I run business is anti-business, anti-corporate. I'm definitely more of a hippie. Like I was born into wealth, right? Like my mom had no wealth because she left the family, she got disowned to come to Australia to party and study here. Then she had me. And then the family sort of took her back after that. As soon as she popped me out, the family in Indonesia were like, "Oh shit, she's not coming back home."
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
so
Well, I was
we
the
better go
opposite.
and
Like,
visit her.
no
So
money and engineering background. So like that whole logical and got to fight for every dollar mindset, right? And that's
well, yeah. So that's where I think
like,
that's where well, we're both in. Some people might see us both in a similar situation, but we're complete opposites, right?
oh, we are
So
100%.
I just really wanted to be Aussie, and I wanted to work for every dollar. And my first businesses were all not for profits
Yeah,
because I was like, well, just showing my family that like you can do your own life. You can do
yeah,
your own business. You don't have to work for the family business.
yeah.
You know, you can just like, that's what my mum did. My mum's like, stay with us in Indonesia, be a millionaire. If you go to Australia, fuck off. We don't want to know you.
Yeah,
And she did that. So she's an
yeah,
inspiration to me, right? So my whole life has been like, just loving the idea of I own this. I'm going to make my mum proud by being in a magazine or being in the newspaper. And she was sending this stuff to the family overseas saying, well, this is what my son's doing. It's a not-for-profit organization, And they were probably all overseas going, what the fuck, you know? What's he driving an A86 for? That's a fucking rust bucket, right? Like, why is he not driving a Merc or, you know?
That's
But
right.
that's the thing, like the Australian way too. You know, that whole like working class man and like that. That's what I grew up with, right? You wanna be a proud guy. You want to walk with your shoulders back because you're proud of what you do. So what I love about you is you're a legit businessman in my eyes. Anyway, I look at you as someone who you walk the compromise line really well because it's fucking obvious to me that you're passionate about what you do.
Oh, 100%.
Like it's
There's
so
no
obvious.
faking it. You can't fake it.
You're not a faker. You're like 100% into it, but you're also like business to me has been a negative word, less and less, by the way. It's taken me a long time. But like I think when I was younger, I was so rebellious about being anti making money and anti selling out that it was more an attitude thing that I had, an attitude problem. And like maybe I thought I was better for keeping more true or keeping 100% true, like no compromise,
But if you
which I
had
think
no
is, you know,
safety net, would you do that? So, and I don't mean that
right.
as an insult.
It's a
Like,
no, it's a
someone
really good
actually has
question.
brought this up about me and you as a comparison. You've come up in a conversation in the past, and someone was talking about some stuff, whatever. And I said to him, "No, we get along great, mate. We're opposite, but we get along great." Someone said something about money and family, and I said, "Look, at the end of the day, if you have a safety net behind you, even if it's not a big one, even if it's just the tiniest of safety net, it allows you to have that attitude of fuck it, I'm going to do what I want, right?"
It really does,
But
man.
I didn't
It
have a
really
safety
does.
net when I started my business. I mean, fucking none, right? Like if I didn't make any money, I wasn't eating. Like,
Yeah,
period.
that's fucking
There's just
crazy.
like if I didn't
That's so real.
Get some
It's
work
so
in that
real.
week, my staff would walk out. If I didn't make some money that week, I didn't buy food. There wasn't a safety net. There wasn't a, oh, hey, mum, can I have $1,000 this week because I literally had a deal go wrong. My client hasn't paid me and I'm fucked. Like, sorry, if you're fucked, you're fucked. Like, period. There was no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I probably had friends I could lean on and, you know, my girlfriend at the time if I had to, but like, but in theory, if the business didn't work, fold it up and go get a fucking job. Like there was no, I can cruise this, it can have a down bit for a while. And that's, like I said, that's why I did the DVD thing is I had to make money. Like there was no, like, can artistically do it. If Matt, I'm telling you right now, flat out, if I could go and artistically make what I want and do what I wanted to do, it would not be the same path that I've done. 100%.
Yeah.
And it's like exactly what you said. Walking that line between, I love this shit, and it's the passion for it. And also, fuck, if I don't make money, I can't pay the bills. So it's kind of that no safety net forced me to slowly get smarter and smarter about how to make money. And I'll admit, for a long time, I made fuck all money. I've only made okay money probably the last 4 years. For like maybe 6-7 years of this business, I was always broke. And if I did,
it's good to hear, man. It's good to hear. That's the thing.
Because I was too passionate and passion projects, and I just didn't realize, like, take that step back and go, look, I'd love to do that, but that's not going to make any money. I just did it anyway back then. But now I have to go, you know what? I'd love to do that, but until I've got some money behind it, I can't. I'm about to launch a new YouTube show with a friend of mine that I said, I'm not going to do it until I get a sponsor for it, because I'm not going to send myself broke on another passion project that might not work. And we did get a sponsor for it. So I'm like, cool. It's not huge money, but it's enough to go, there is less risk now in making this show because someone's at least covering the cost of XYZ part of it. And I'm happy to put in XYZ time. You know, you like exactly what you said, walking that line between, I really want to do this project from a passion perspective versus fuck, I need money or I'm broke.
Look, I think that's the thing. Like you're far from selling out. Like I think if I used all my graphic design knowledge and entrepreneurial skills to create a business specifically to sell out, I think I'd make so much money, man. Like I think, you know, the whole concept of Zen Garage was too close to me. It was too personal, and it got so fucking huge that people were wearing the brand, and I didn't like these people. You know, I didn't like these guys representing the brand because I didn't like them. So I started to systematically just sabotage my own brand. You know,
Crazy when you think about it, isn't it?
Well, I was calling these cunts out on Facebook saying, fuck you guys, let me buy t-shirts back off you. And people were leaving in thousands. People were like, goodbye, Zen. I'm like, yeah, fuck off. See ya. You know,
because you figured they weren't in it for the same reason you were, so therefore they shouldn't be in it, right? Like that's.
Well, I just put too much of myself into it, and I put too much importance on it, and I in retrospect, I should have just created this little brand and given it to people. Give it to you. Give it to people I do podcasts with, people who I genuinely like, so that when I see them at an event or something wearing my shit, I fucking feel awesome because that, like, I'm so happy this person's out there wearing this shit because they get it.
That's
but
right.
then, like, in retrospect, man, if I just wanted to fucking sell out, holy fuck, I could have just separated myself from it, call it something, whatever.
I could just go be a cameraman or an editor somewhere. Or I could go start a production company doing just, oh, fuck, you know what the biggest, I hate to say this and don't take offense to this, people that do enjoy doing it, but one of the biggest sellouts for photographers and cameramen, and let me explain it before you get angry, everyone listening, is weddings.
They're ready to pounce, man.
Right? They're ready. It's weddings. And I'll tell you why. And I've got
weddings. Right.
So if you actually like doing weddings, fuck, power to you. Go for it, right? That's fine. If you just want to do weddings because all you care about is making money, I'm even cool with that, because if your only incentive is to make money, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not our thing. But if you just want to make money,
with it at all,
no,
man.
at all. Like if you just want to make money, go do weddings. You don't have to like your day job. You can make money and spend it elsewhere. But what happens is
it's a tough job, man.
Photographers who have a passion for something else, and then they get lured into the wedding. I can get $1,000 a day doing a wedding, but doing a car video, I can only get $200, right? Because that's all the budget is.
Mm.
And once they do a couple of weddings, they get hooked into weddings. And then I ring them up and go, "Oh, man, I got to shoot this weekend at Cootamundra and I come do it. Oh, what are you paying?" I go, "Man, look, probably this one, 350. And they go,
Right.
"No, I can
Yeah.
make 1,000 this weekend." I go, "But don't you enjoy cars?" "Oh, yeah, but I can make 1,000 this weekend at weddings." I'm like, "All right, see ya." And then 2 years later, I get a phone call from them going, "You still doing events at Cootamundra? You still like me?" "Yeah, bro."
They burnt out.
I've realized that I just fucking hate weddings
They
and I
burnt
hate
out.
filming them. And now I
Yeah.
want to shoot stuff for less money that I like. So
Yeah.
yeah, when it comes to selling out, man, I could have just done fucking toothpaste commercials and weddings from the start if all I cared about was money. But fuck that. I wanted to build a business where every
That's it.
fucking day I get to do shit. I don't wake up, go, fuck, go to work. I wake up every day and go,
Yeah.
yeah, what am I doing today? Like
Yeah.
that's it. It's every day. What
Yeah,
am I doing today?
you're a go-getter. Like I had another guy on the podcast recently. He's a go-getter as well. I fucking love that. Like that's the thing. Like I think you and I talk to a lot of young people. Like
Mm.
we talk to in private messages and all this shit. Like
Oh, yeah, heaps.
people don't get how they could leave their shitty work situation to try to chase something
Yeah,
like run something like Motive or Zen, and they don't get it. Like
got to create it.
it's too much of a risk for them to take.
Yeah,
No,
it's a fucking
I
big
like this
risk.
topic, man. I really like this topic because I think nearly everyone that I can have a conversation like this with, which is an
Mm,
open conversation, it's nothing fucking special. It's just an open
that's
conversation.
right.
But I find that the people that can speak openly are the people that are running their own thing.
That's right.
You know,
Because
like they don't
no
hate
one
their
will ever know the
jobs.
heartache, right? Like
Yeah.
it would sound like a sob story. Now that I'm doing all right, and from the outside
Mm.
looking in, you see an office and a studio downstairs, and God knows how many fucking cars parked downstairs that I can't finish. And you know, got a happy family on
It's easy for
Facebook
people
and
to be jealous of you, isn't it? It's easy.
100%, but
Like
they see the
and
tip of the
yeah,
iceberg. They don't see fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. They don't see a
yeah,
divorce I went through and being broke for 5 years and on the bones of my ass,
yeah,
looking up to guys going, I wish I had that GDR, but I had to buy my first GDR. It was a 10 grand piece of shit that blew up the next day, right? Like I
yeah.
literally had the worst condition GDR in the country in 2011 when I bought it for 10 grand, but fuck it, I had a GDR, right? So people don't see all that pain to get what you want. I tell everyone, if you want your dream job, be prepared to put up with some fucking nightmares because there's so much work to build what I've got. It's just
Don't you
ridiculous.
find though that what it is with it's a running theme that I see in people who want to do self-made business but
Mm.
never get to it. I think it's just that they don't have the drive and the passion, just the passion. I just don't
Yeah.
think that they're obsessive compulsive enough about something. Maybe they're into cars because being into cars is cool, or
Mm.
it's a trend, or it's a bandwagon thing.
Oh, I
And
do things 100%.
I
Don't
don't mean
worry.
to offend anyone here either.
Yeah.
Like I think that's very offensive potentially
But it's
to
not for
someone who
everyone. I don't say to people that don't want to run their own
no
business, oh, there's something wrong with you. There's not, that's
no
fine. There are plenty of people that want to work with a career and have structure and work their way. That's totally fine. Nothing wrong with
totally
that. I'm
fine.
telling, I warn
Climbing the
people
corporate
against
ladder.
what I've done. I tell people what I've been through. I don't wish that upon fucking anybody, what I had to go through to get here. The hours, the pain, health problems, even, bro. Like
Yeah.
fucking work myself to the bone and have health problems because I'm so fucking determined to make it work. When my ex-wife left me and we
Mm,
split up, she thought I was going to fail. But you know what? I fucking did better than ever. I fucking
yeah.
grew my business 400% in 12 months after we split
Yeah.
up. I moved
Yeah.
into my own industrial unit with fucking built a studio. I went ballistic because I wanted to just like, I was so fucking motivated beyond ever before to
Mm.
do well and turn the dream into reality. That's actually when it really kind of stepped up a notch. So everything
But I
kind of
mean,
came together at the same time
how do
as
you even
well. But
explain that? Like I've had that straight up question. Like how is it that you're so into what you're into? It's like a really fucking hard one to answer. But
well,
like,
growing
you
up
know,
I
how
was
is it?
planes for me. It was planes for me as a kid. From the age of like 2 years old, I was
Mm.
obsessed with planes to the point I bought plane magazines when I was 5 years old. I was just like, I'm going to be a pilot in the Air Force, and that's fucking it. Like, that's it, right? So I got an aviation scholarship in high school. I joined Air Cadets and I duxed nearly every promotional course. I was the fucking best I could be. I won national aircraft recognition comps. I did my first flying lesson at 10. I fucking had my I went
Serious?
solo on my 16th birthday. The first day you can go solo legally is 16. I fucking took the day off school and did it on my fucking birthday. I had my private pilot's license or restricted one when I was 17, took my mum flying. I got a scholarship to the Australian Defence Force Academy. Like, got the highest rating you can get for piloted aptitude testing. Why? Because I'm going to fucking do it. That's why. So
you had it from a really young
yeah,
age
but when I
then,
got
man.
out of the Air
Holy
Force, because it wasn't for
shit.
me, and I decided I'm going to be in the car scene. All right, well, if that's what I'm doing, I'm fucking all in, bro. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
there's no stopping me, bro. Like, if for me, if I stopped being in the car scene, it would be a clean break. It would just be like, sell every car, sell the business, and never look at them again.
See, don't you think you can see, like, just you even just saying that, what you've said in the last minute about how you were always, it was almost like you were born obsessive. But that's the thing. Don't you think that
not everyone's
that
got
must
it,
be
though.
that must be so fucking intimidating, man, for like people who are just like, you know, because a lot of it's just like there's so many, there's so much knowledge out there, and you can get so good just by watching videos and shit if you have the energy for it. But because people don't, a lot of young people don't, they just come across as completely dumb fucks who are just like, they see someone being successful and go, I want that.
Now they don't
You know?
realize what's got to be done. How
Right, that's the
hardcore you
thing.
got to
But
look
it
at
must be
athletes. Olympic athletes are a perfect
right.
example.
Yeah,
If
you
you're
don't
not a
just fucking
fucking
wake
gymnast
up.
from 2, you're not going to be in the
Exactly.
Olympics, right? Like,
Yeah, but don't you find that that's the thing that must be ultimately so intimidating and
yeah,
frustrating for
yeah.
someone who does want a way out, but then if you come to the hard reality of it being blood, sweat, and tears,
They don't
and
get
you're
it,
not willing
especially
to do
now.
it or you're not capable of doing it,
Yeah,
then you're just gonna have to try to find happiness elsewhere, right?
yeah. I
Because
work for admissions. I know. It's just,
it's a tough one though, right? I'm
it
with
is.
you. It's like I hate saying that. Like I hate it when an artist says, "Oh, I was born with it," or "I was born
Yeah.
with intuition," because I do believe it can be taught. Like I seriously do believe you can.
I think your natural ability gives you a massive head start. I honestly believe some things can't be taught.
Yeah,
Or you can't be the best
that's a
NBA
tough
player
one.
if you're 5 foot
Yeah, true, true,
two
true.
and
Yeah,
unco,
sure,
right? Like,
sure,
so
sure,
not.
sure.
I think when
There's
it comes to
exceptions, but
physical
yeah.
things, you can't always teach. But some
Mm.
people, man, they just don't have the fucking drive. They just don't
No, I
have it,
know.
and they're never going to
So
have
what
it.
do
And
you
there's
say to
nothing
those
wrong
people?
with that. Like,
Well,
oh, you just
yeah,
tell them. I
okay.
tell them flat out,
So-
man. If you fucking can't do what I did, and you can't work 16 hours a day, Mark Manson summed it up perfectly. Life isn't about happiness. Life is about problems. And you have to enjoy solving problems to be truly happy in life. That's the biggest thing he ever said that stuck with
yeah,
me. I fucking love solving problems. Every day
yeah.
but problems can be good or bad. A problem can be I've got no money. A problem can be I've got too much money. A problem can be which fucking exotic car do I drive today? Or it could be how do I afford petrol today? So he basically said that to be truly happy in life, you must enjoy solving problems because
Mhm.
everything in life in some way is a problem. Now, if you enjoy solving them, you'll always be fucking happy. And that for me, that's
Mm.
perfect. Every day, every event, every new magazine I'm working on, new video project, new project, everything's a problem. And I love fixing those problems. So I'm always happy.
I think
Even
the
when,
fixing the problems is a bit right. Everyone has problems,
yeah,
but a lot of people tend to,
ignore
you know,
them.
under the rug kind of thing, and
That's right.
it just builds up. And
Mark
um,
Manson for me was a big thing actually when I went through my separation with my ex-wife. It was a big actually a help. And I usually hated self-help books.
hmm.
That was a big one for me because just some of the harsh realities of life is you just got to, they were taught in that. And coming back to what you said about like people, if they're passionate enough to go and make it work, I have people say to me, I want to get into video. How do I do what I do? I go, well, the first thing you do is rock up at my doorstep and say, can I sleep on your couch and learn everything? And they go, what? No, I want to get paid. I go, oh, well, fuck off then.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have that old school go getter attitude. You know, like
No.
I did this podcast with a guy the other day, and he had that. He'd walk into a business that looked interesting to him, and he'd just say straight up, "I want a job here.
Yeah.
What's it going to take? I'll do anything. I'll get you
Yeah.
coffees. I'll do admin."
100%.
And I think same with me. Like I go up to Woolworths, ask for a job. The guy would say, boss would say, "Come back tomorrow at 11 o'clock." I'd
Yeah.
be there at like 11:15, freaking out. And as soon as I walked in the door to see the boss, the first thing he did was check the watch.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on time. Come upstairs. You got a job. And
Mate,
it's like I think that was an more
force
of
your
an
way
old school
in.
thing.
Force your way in. Go get the
Yeah,
job you want by forcing your way in. Work for free. Go find out what qualification do I need. I'll go get that. Where can I do work experience to help me get there? Like people don't want to work for free anymore because they all think their uni degree gives them some right to get paid 100 grand a year the first year out, but it fucking doesn't. A uni degree is fuck all, mate. Like I know you
it's a
need it in some
it's a
jobs, but
society thing, don't you
yeah,
think?
it's a
Now where
problem, man.
people
Like
just feel like
kids with a
they've
film
got
degree don't know
rights.
how to shoot. They just
Yeah,
know how to study fucking technical specs of filming, right? Like you got to get out there. And if you're not practicing filming every weekend while you're in film school, why the fuck do you want to be a cameraman then? Like, right?
Especially
Like,
now, considering how easy it is to publish too. Like, if you
yeah,
think
that's
back
right.
to like when we were younger, all we had was television, radio, and print.
Yeah.
And fuck, to get your shit that's not good yet onto one of those three platforms was
Hard.
impossible.
I was a writer for Fast Forwards, believe it or not, for a year as a
I think that
contractor.
runs true with people that are really successful too. They know how to write. I find that quite a common thing.
Yeah.
Like
And I
if
failed
you
English
know.
in year 9. Do you know that? Sucked in English teacher.
But that's the thing. I think like I really love writing. I think it's just a lot of people just sit there at the blank screen and a blinking cursor and they can't write. But I feel like I write how I speak, so it's
Yeah.
easy. Just
Oh,
like
I agree, man. Like I was not technically proficient at English in school, if that makes sense. But when it came to actually writing like an article for a car magazine or an interest piece or a call, oh yeah, fuck, I've written
you
heaps,
do it.
bro, all around the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
And that's the thing is, it's like you said, is back then, fuck, you needed an in or be really good to get that job. Which
Mm.
I'll tell a little story here because most people don't know this. I got into the car scene by becoming a commentator. I didn't know how I was going to be in the car scene when I got out of the Air Force. I had no idea. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. I just wanted to be in it. I didn't want to be a mechanic. I knew that.
Mm.
So I, auto salon was big, right? So what
Yep.
happened is I just wanted to be part of the group somehow, right? So auto salon Perth 03, I asked if I could take my car out of the show to have it on stage at a nightclub Saturday night. And as you know, you can never take a car at auto salon. And I begged and I begged and I begged and I begged and I begged. And it turns out they ended up having their auto salon party at Metro nightclub in Perth. And I knew the guys that ran security there and the dancers on stage. They said, well, they'll use my car. Even though my car wasn't that good at the time, it's who you know, right?
Mm-hmm,
And we ended up
mm-hmm.
being an awesome party. I won't talk about getting chased by the cops, having no bonnet on the car at 5 a.m. on the way back to auto salon. But I kind of met the guys then. That was my in to meet them. And then
Yeah.
Damien, who was kind of like, low end operations in the big scheme of things back then, he actually goes, oh, I like your hustle, bro. Like you actually really want to help. Do you want to help at some more events? And I moved to Queensland and my parents owned a freight company. I was actually working as a courier to try and get out of debt and make money after I got out of the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to me, oh, you can help by dropping off flyers at workshops. Fuck yeah, whatever you want, I'll do it. I just did whatever they wanted. I didn't even ask for money.
Yeah.
I went to Broadwater car park Saturday night and gave out auto salon flyers and I was just happy to be part of it. And then he goes, do you want to help at the show? Fuck yeah, I want to help. Doing what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, anything, just whatever. It's Friday, I was, the guys invest parking cars when you go into auto salon. I did that.
That's
and then on
fucking
Saturday,
cool,
I go, what's my job on Saturday? And he goes, oh, you're going to take cars to the dyno. All right, sweet. That's my job. So I start taking cars to and from the dyno Saturday morning. No one's commentating. And I go to him, who commentates the fucking dyno? He goes, sometimes I do, sometimes whatever. I go, do you want me to give it a go? Never commentated before, but obviously the confidence of giving drill and ceremonial commands in the military and teaching at air cadets, I knew how to speak well and present and stick.
There you go. There you go.
Just picked up a microphone and I literally, the reason it did so well is that day, like literally the first time commentating a dyno comp, I came up with the whole, let's get all the big hitters out at one time at say 2:00. So all day I advertised, all the big cars are coming out. So I went and spoke to all the people I know and got all these big at the time that was 300 kilowatts, got all the big cars to come out. And then we had a little 20-minute break while we were all at the back chilling out. And it was the best vibe ever, right? Like just picture every big workshop and cars out the back of the dyno area ready to party. And the crowd was fucking huge. And I remember starting this big boy dyno session and the crowd was so fucking big that like the stage was suffering. Like the girls are coming out to do their stage show going, where the fuck are all the people gone? And I remember Jeff and Nudie apparently came out onto the balcony, looked down and go, what the fuck is going on down there? And then I had a job commentating auto salon and it turned into a dyno championship. So I created a job for myself. I didn't get hired for one. And then I rang Power Crews. Hey, can I commentate? Yep. In Sydney? Sure, no worries. Hey, drifters, can I commentate? And then I commentated local drift comps for free so that I could drift for free in the practice session and then full
lockdown. Back to what you were saying.
And like, I just made it happen, like just.
Yeah, but it goes back to what you were saying, how the attitude of some people that don't want to do anything for free, well, then the opportunities aren't going to
100%
present themselves.
And not every opportunity you do for free will turn into something. Fuck, you can do 10 things in a row where you help for free and it leads nowhere.
No, 100%. But if you're not in it, you can't win it, right? Like if you 100%. Honestly, if you're already negative about something, then it's only gonna go more negative from there.
Oh
Like,
man, I've interviewed 100 video editors and cameramen for
mm,
jobs, and some of them have had the attitude of, oh, I've got a film degree and I've already filmed before. I'm
yeah,
not going to do a practice edit to see if I'm any good. I know I'm good. Oh, fuck off then.
yeah,
Like if you give them an edit to do, to go put your money where your mouth is. Here's one of our edits done exactly the way I would give it to you as a job. Go do it, and if you're good, then
yeah,
I know you're good, right? And they go, oh, you just want a free edit out of me. I go, well, it's a nice bonus, I guess, but like, what if it's shit? Like
yeah. Look, I think what it's a really nice place that you and I are at in our careers. You know, it's like,
yeah.
I think you and I have a solid understanding of having done our time.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I've done
it's
my
a,
time.
you can't fucking buy that. Like, it's just a, it's so much confidence. Like, it gives us so much confidence to not put so much pressure on ourselves about what the next big thing is or whatever, because
Yeah,
when you've got that, you feel like I've done something.
that's right.
You know, and I think a lot of the time when, you know, we started out talking about haters, but if I do come across a hater these days, the first thing I do is try to find out what have they done,
Yeah,
and most of the time it's nothing.
yeah. I haven't
So
been
I
bagged
think,
by someone doing better than me since I started doing this ever.
and that's the thing. Like, I think if anything, um, I prefer it when I get feedback from people like yourself and people who I respect.
That's right.
That goes so much further than, you know, I can just post up tits and bum shots on Instagram, and I can instantly see that they get more likes than the artistic photo that I prefer to post. But
That's right.
then when someone that I know is in the design industry that likes the artistic post or even comments on it, knowing that if they comment on it, they're probably going to see more of this crap in their feed, and they don't want that. But they're
Yeah,
still going to comment on it anyway because they
weird
like
one, isn't
me.
it?
Then,
That balance between what gives your brand the reach and likes you need
right.
versus the stuff you personally want to post. Same struggle I have every day, bro. Like it just,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
no
even
doubt.
when I put up that call out to do the podcast, it's like I didn't want to have you and Ian Baker and Alexi and everyone on so soon, because I know my mentality now is like, yeah, okay, well, I'm not trying to sell out here, but I also understand how so many people out there aren't confident enough in
Mm,
themselves to be on a podcast with me. And as soon as I say Andrew Hawkins, Ian Baker, Alexi from Noriyaro, and it's like people are going to be like, oh fuck, there's no way he's going to want to do a podcast with me. You know, a lot of
people
people think like
prejudge,
that. A
man.
lot of people just like go, oh fuck, I can't compete with that.
But they should put their hand up.
Yeah, a few people have, but
It's like, get in there, give it a go. Like it's,
you know,
but the,
Alexi sent me a message. He goes, um, I really often disagree with so many things you say, Justin, but I do like you, so
but I'm the
I'd like.
same. I disagree
And
with
I
heaps of shit you've
love
said.
that. I just love that though. You know, like I'm not looking for cocksuckers to be, and you
Nah,
know, dick lickers to be on my show. I like, if fucking
shit, I can.
someone I
I've got a.
disagree
I
with.
could give you a list of shit I hate that I disagree with. You've done. Fuck, I can even tell you shit you've said that's really pissed me off. But it doesn't mean we don't like you. You know what? I'll give you one example. You ready?
Yeah, go
Do you
on.
remember that? It was a while ago. Do you remember the thing you wrote about? I won't say the company, but it was a tire company you were sponsored by, and I remember you
Oh
did an
yeah.
article about you didn't
Oh
like
yeah.
that they were asking you to do things that they would ask every other sponsored person to do.
Yeah.
And
I
I
remember
flipped
that.
out over that. Not in a
Yeah, I remember that.
personal way at you, but it was like, it was kind of like, because I've had to go through so much fucking shit to get sponsored and get where I've got and done
Yep.
sponsorship proposals and
Yep.
had to
Yep.
like all that shit, right? I was like,
Yep.
fuck you, motherfucker. I've had to go through so much shit to get the same
I
thing.
get it. I
And
get it,
you
bro.
were like, fuck these guys. I'd rather not have the sponsorship. I'm like, oh fuck. It just like that one fucking just twisted the
Dude,
knife into me, right? But
yeah, I do that to my business partners. That's the thing.
yeah.
Like, can you imagine my business partners how they would have felt? Like even last year, man, when I was running a design and photography studio last year, and me being me, because I know a thing or two about social media. I've been doing
Yeah.
this for longer than most. So I took some behind the scenes shots of us shooting something corporate job, and I posted it up on Instagram. And my business partner just goes, "Dude, you can't just do that. Like, you got to ask permission first and shit. You know, you get in trouble." And I'm just like, nah. I was a few wines in. I was like, nah, fucking don't worry about it. You know. And a couple of days later, we get an email like, we can't work with you guys if you're going to be like this. And how dare you post up that behind the scenes shot without asking us for permission? And like, I got fucking hammered by my business partners, man. Hammered.
Well, there's a
And
thing people don't understand. You own your own business. So I think you're not your own boss when you
no,
own your own business. In
no,
fact,
no,
you
no.
probably, like I say to people, right? Like if my staff are sick and a job's due out at 5 o'clock on Thursday or by Friday, if my staff are sick and the job's not done, suck shit. I'm working till 2 a.m. Like you can't escape that.
Yeah.
You can't go home and go, someone else will do it. You
Yeah,
don't get
no,
sick
no, no, no.
days when
You still, yeah, you are the business.
and then when your client goes, I want this, they can go, I want a elephant in fucking polka dot bikini, like the fucking song, right? Or whatever that is. If they want that, sometimes you go, oh, well, I tried, give them a little
That's
hint.
where you and I are different.
You give them a
That's
little
where,
hint
you
that you
know,
shouldn't do it. You give them a little, and I will admit,
Yeah.
so I've done jobs where I've gone, I don't like it, but that's what
Yeah.
they paid for. But that's why
Yeah.
Jet Multimedia exists, because Jet Multimedia, the biggest difference between Motive and Jet Multimedia is Jet Multimedia is where you pay me to do what you want.
Yep. It's a service. It's a service.
Motive
You know.
Video is where you pay me to do what I want.
And you
Most of the
brand it the
time,
way you think is
or a lot
right. Yeah.
closer to
Yeah.
what I want, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
get me
Yeah.
wrong. Like when I do a technical video on dry sump systems, and Ross is sponsoring it to help me actually have the resources to make it, they get some input. But if they input something, I go, no, I'm not selling out like that. I'll tell them and say I won't do it. But they have some input, but I'm still steering the ship. Just, there's a navigator at the back giving me a couple of clues, you know what I mean? Or a couple of directives of we need to go via this, but I'm still steering the ship. So, and that's...
No, I'm with you 100%, man. I don't think I've ever been able to say that I'm a good team player. I think just never have. And I think, I've always wanted to have a business with 10 people. Like when I was running design companies, I'd get to 3 or 4 people thinking, fuck yeah, I'm close to my 10 staff. That's where I want to be, like this mid-sized company. But then these guys would be like smoking bongs with me after work, and then they'd start turning up to work late, or Justin, I can't come in today, I'm a bit sick or something. And they become my mates, and it's just like, I'm just shit at it, man. Like I'm just, I think like what I'm doing this year of just shooting full time and only making enough money to buy me food, man. Like I don't have a hobby right now. Like I can't even buy a new camera right now because I'm running really tight. I'm not willing to make that compromise because I'm still that stubborn fuck. Like all of that shit that I did with
But that's
Zen.
cool.
Yeah.
But that's cool. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I used to, the younger me, the engineering brain would say that's a waste, right? Like the younger me would say, stop wasting your talent, mate. Justin,
Potential.
Doing, right?
Like
I'm
I'm not living up to my potential. Yeah.
But I've learned
Especially,
with COVID this year, I'm cruising a little bit. Last year I was hectic, 52 airline flights, 12 hours a day, like just ballistic last year. Right? And I made good money last year and I enjoyed it. I went, to US with my missus and had a great time, and, bought a Porsche last year, cheap Porsche, by the way, for those that want to judge.
And like, gray.
Yeah, I spent some money and enjoyed it last year. But then this year, COVID hit, 70% of my turnover wiped out. But
70%, that's fucking, okay.
JobKeeper has made it so that it's not so bad. And I just actually now I'm working 9 to 5. I'm going home at 5:30 to pick up my daughter, go home, family life, watch TV. I've never watched so much TV in my whole life than this year, right? And I'm still working hard. I'm still doing solid week and everything. But like, instead of doing a 60-hour week, I'm doing like 40 to 45 max, right? Which for me is, that's actually feel quite relaxed.
More balanced. Yeah, I know. But that's the thing, like going back to that point about the 9 to 5, I've always found it frustrating that, I spent 4 years in a graphic design degree to be a professional.
Yeah.
And when I was at Woolies, you do 3-hour shifts, 4-hour shifts. You start exactly when you're meant to start. And when your shift is over, you go home. Right. And you were paid for every single minute that you were in the job. Right. Or someone at Macca's, that's it. 9 to 5, 5 o'clock, bam, I'm out of here.
That's right.
What I never got is, why did I study for 4 years, work for the shittest pay ever for 3 or 4 years, then finally make it as a professional? But like after 5, I stayed back till 8 every fucking night, and I only get paid till 5, but I'm a professional. Why the fuck is it that weird, this is why I think a lot of people are unhappy with their jobs, because the mobile phone keeps the work on. Like so many bosses are messaging staff outside of their pay hours.
Yeah.
So they're stressed out about work at midnight or something because of a message or an email. And it's like, it's not fair. If you've studied to be a professional, why is it that like your rights are completely fucked because you have to work from 9 to 5 and then till late? Whereas the guy at Macca's just enjoys the fact that come 5 o'clock, I'm out of here.
I'll give you
done.
I think there's a balancing act. I think that my staff, I treat them, I think I treat them pretty well in flexibility. Like, so
Mm.
for example, if they tell me they've got to leave early, start late, I don't care. As long as if you've got an edit to do that day, if you get that edit done
Do the
and you're
job.
done at 3 o'clock, yeah, see you later, go home.
Do
But
the
on the
job.
flip
Yeah.
side, if we have something our business needs to do that's got a pretty hectic schedule, hectic deadline, I kind of expect a bit of help back. So for every night, for every day that they get to go home an hour early, or for every few days of that, every now and then I ask for a, hey, this edit's got to be done in a day. It's a little bit unrealistic. You're probably gonna have to stay back a couple of hours. And they don't complain because they go, yeah, because for every time I do that, I've probably had multiple other times I've gone home early. So I try to keep that balance with my guys. And I certainly don't ring them after work and message them very often after work, unless it's something really random, like, hey, can you tell me where this project file is? I'm in late and I need to get something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
It's a big picture thing. I think end
Yeah,
of the
big
day,
picture.
it's like
Keep them happy.
if your big picture is like, okay, well, I've got security from this guy because I need this security, and then what am I going to be willing to sacrifice for that? So I think you need to
Yeah.
look at the big picture. But
As an
if you're in a
employee, you should
job,
definitely volunteer to help out the business a little bit beyond. Because the problem with, okay, I'll give you an example. Australia's mentality is from an employee, and I don't mean this for everyone. I'm just saying as a generalization, without even realizing it, we've become the employee has the upper hand and goes, you should be thankful that I work for you. But if you go to America, they turn around and go, you should be happy you have a fucking job. So it's like a different mindset. When I was doing work for D Sport in America, the kind of if a worker was asked to stay back, they fucking did it, because if they didn't, they knew they'd get sacked. Like, you could sack people easier over there. And it became a little bit more like, be grateful you have a job. This is the guy who's giving you money. Without this person, you don't eat, right? So be grateful. But here it's more like, you should be grateful I fucking turn up at all. Like the Aussie culture of sick days and pulling the piss and, you know, rocking up late, going home. Like, help the business you work for, right? Like, no matter how small or big it is, and that attitude will set you up for life. It will. Like, if you work for Macca's, put the extra bit in, right? Be that best employee. Why? Because you'll be the first one to get promoted up a shift. You're the one that get extra shifts. You're the one that'll get a pay rise. Like,
do you remember that show, Undercover Boss?
Yeah.
You know, that the boss would go undercover and see how most of the time anyway, would see how fucking awesome their staff were.
Yeah, I know.
How much
I like that. I like
how much work they put in. Oh shit! It's just gone to some weird audio.
Hello? Can you still hear me?
You're back. Yeah, I think it's I don't know. It's my fucking Apple shit.
Apple. Remember when Apple used to be the best thing ever, and like having Apple meant you were a proper creative and professional? And Apple used to make products for professionals, but what Apple slowly morphed into is a company that tells consumers what they should have, not what they want.
Man. It was the iPod.
Yeah, they fucked it. I remember when an Apple Mac Pro, like a Mac Pro, or MacBook Pro or whatever, or an iMac Pro Tower was like the shit. Yeah. And now you buy a $10,000 iMac Pro and it fucking crashes every day when you do Adobe Premiere. So
now you just get an iMac and it's a consumer. It's become consumer, and I mean they lost that battle anyway, man. I think they were about to dissolve at some point, and that was before the iPod, and they were in real big trouble. And I think some prince somewhere fucking ended up bailing them out of that. And then the iPod was made and they were back on track. So I think ever since the iPod, they've been like, fuck, what can we, you know, that's the thing. They do innovate, you know, like every phone out there these days looks like an iPhone. They all have
they're the innovators,
touch screens. 100%. And so they do innovate. But at the same time, man,
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Apple monitors, 1, 2, 3 Mac Pro Towers, 2 iMacs, 3 iPhones, 2 laptops. Like, it's all Apple. But I'm stuck there now, right? I'm stuck. Can't go anywhere. It's like, it couldn't change if I wanted to, but that's just by default. But it's not like GDRs.
The color's good, man. That's all I can say. The color's good. You know, like one of the things that shits me the most is when I'm out and about and I'll see someone using an iPhone, but they've got the screen set up so fucking dark to save batteries. I'm like, what have you got such a beautiful screen for, man? There's so much detail in this screen. Like, you got to use it. I treat
battery life like fuel in a GTR, bro. I don't care. Have you
ever had exactly.
People go to me, what fuel economy does your GTR get when you tune it? I don't fucking know. I don't care. My fuel gauge doesn't even work. My fuel light comes on when there's 10 liters left. Oh, how many Ks did you get? I don't know. I don't care. It's a GDR, all right? If you have to talk about fuel economy when you own a 32 GDR, you probably should own a 32 GDR.
It's like, what are you talking about? You know, that's the thing. Like, I think when the Prius came out, I'm not sure if I'm right here in saying this because I don't have firsthand experience, but apparently it has like a tree on the dash or leaves or something. And it's like, if you're driving really nicely, it's green. and it lights up. And if you're
Heaps of
driving
cars have
badly,
that now. They have like an
yeah,
economy rating graph or some
color,
shit, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
or
yeah.
some way of telling you that you're driving within the scope of economy, as if it's a fucking cool thing to achieve optimum fuel efficiency. I'm like, what the? It's like anti-car enthusiast shit. That's what that is. It's like,
I'm
I hate
gonna.
cars. I'm gonna buy this and drive around trying to be in the green.
We should create the next Need for Speed where you gotta like be easy on the throttle and get
Need for
a good.
boredom, more like it. Jesus. Like nothing says I hate cars like that. You know what I mean? Like just nothing. It's the same. It's the people that buy them though. They're the people that go, "Why do you need a fast car to go from A to B? It doesn't make any difference." I'm like, "Yeah, it does. I get there faster."
No, it'll be interesting, man. I think like I think probably when the Prius came out, you and I would laugh about it, and all of a sudden now, Teslas are. I don't know what happened. I don't know.
You been in
All
one?
the no, I haven't. But all
Fuck
those
me.
they're fast, right? And that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
I think all those conspiracy theorists that think like Elon's an actual alien that somehow
I think he
developed this
thinks he is.
technology overnight, he kind of has, because we had the Prius, we had other cars like the Prius, and then all of a sudden, these cars are as fast as my GDR or faster. It's like it just happened overnight.
Believe it or not, it didn't happen overnight. A lot of that technology did exist in the military world and other commercial sectors and
There
stuff
you
like
go.
that. The
Here's
problem is,
conspiracy theory.
I'm not a big conspiracy guy. To me, there's always a piece of logic somewhere, and if there
The
isn't a
tech was
piece of logic
there.
behind it, then it's a conspiracy, right? Like my
Yeah,
engineering
yeah.
brain can't help it. But there is a lot of stuff going on with electric motors that happened before him. It's just, I think a lot of car manufacturers were scared to step into that world of making an electric car really fast, because it brings a whole different set of problems that didn't exist with petrol engines, and they know
Politics.
petrol. You know what I mean? Like it's stability controls a totally different world. Torque management's totally different. Like there's heaps of things that kind of can go wrong with an electronic car that has heaps of grunt. Like there's people talking about building 2,000 kilowatt electric cars.
Dude,
Like,
did you consider that for the next Motive project car?
I will admit that the day that aftermarket electrification becomes a little bit more attainable, because at the moment it's pretty sketchy, right? Like if you got Tesla won't even let people buy crashed Teslas. They buy them back, right? Like they claim the whole intellectual property thing and you can't pull one apart. But if I could put Tesla motors into, say, the front wheels of an MR2 and have a K-series turbo in the back and make it launch in all-wheel drive with electric motors, and then, have torque feel from them. Like I think there's huge scope for electronic.
So you're just saying it's lacking support. That's what you're saying. It's
lacking the support to kind of be able to do it. And I'm worried I'll go to do it, electrocute myself and get something wrong and the car catch on fire. Like it's pretty dangerous when you think about it and take a step back. The things we do to these cars at the moment, it's pretty.
Yeah,
it's pretty dangerous when you think about it in a way, right? Like,
fuck yeah,
but you add electrification, you add batteries that catch on fire and huge voltage systems that can literally electrocute you and kill you. Do you really want, car enthusiasts playing around with that stuff at the moment? We're not ready for that.
Maybe not.
But
yeah.
like if a company said, "Hey, we can sell you an electric motor that hooks up to a drive shaft to go in the front of a rear engine car to give it, and boost it up, and there's a way to program it," we'll get there. 100% we'll get there. But it's just got to filter down from the top end. And if anyone says to me, would you want to own an all-electric car? I'm like, no, I love external gates and sequential gearboxes. But the idea of having an electric motor assist a turbo, like if I have an RB26 that revs to 10.5 grand, makes 1,300 horsepower on a 2.8, but the turbo is so big that it's a pig down low, well, an electric motor will get rid of that problem.
That'd be pretty interesting, except for the weight, but yeah.
I can have the best of both worlds, right? And that's the other problem is weight and space for batteries. So we've still got to get past that a little bit before we kind of get where we need to be, right? Like weight's the enemy of performance in the big scheme of things, but at the same time, sometimes the right things, the right reason to have weight can sort of bring it back. So, but go in a Tesla if you can.
I really want. I'm curious about it. I've got a feeling if I do buy another car, ever, it'll be a Tesla.
It's a couple $100,000 though for those
Oh well, fuck that then. I'm not going to get one. I'll just
get
another.
The super fast ones. The super fast ones are a couple $100,000, right? Like, but even their slowest ones still run 11s. Like it's not like their slow one is a 15-second car. Like their slow cars run 11s. You know what I mean? Like
it's nuts, man.
I think we'll get there, but right now I love GDRs too much to kind of do that. But
I kind of like that we didn't talk about GTRs so much. I mean, we did a little bit, but it's like
it's another podcast altogether.
Exactly. I think it would be expected of us, Like
100%.
I think it's almost too cliche for two GTR guys to sit down and talk about the badge and romanticize about it and make everyone feel like
Look,
they're
people
losers for
know they're the
driving
best car in the
GTSTs.
world. People know that we're the king of the road. Okay, the argument's already finished. Now, look, I actually cop a lot of flack for being biased, right? Which is really odd because, like, what I decide to buy with my money to build on YouTube is still my money, right? Like, I should be able to buy
Totally.
whatever I want. But some people get upset and go, "You're so GDR biased and you bag other things." I'm like, "Oh man,
Nah.
relax, bro. It's a joke." I like, okay, for the record, I like all cars. I like
Yeah,
all
same.
styles. I don't
Same.
dislike or like anything out there. It's like the car scene's great because you can do what you want to whatever you want. What I don't like is people who give shit to other people for doing what they
For
want to
what
do.
they're
If someone
driving.
wants
Yeah,
to
yeah,
build that car, that style, fuck, good on them. Let them go, right? I don't even dislike sex spec. In fact, I kind of
yeah.
enjoyed the sex spec days because
It's entertaining.
when you went to auto salon, a sex spec car wasn't faking what it was. It was a show car. They
Mm,
totally ruined the performance to
mm,
be a show car, and they knew that. They didn't hide it. But then when we transitioned into this, the JDM went from
mhm.
being separate to sex spec. There was a separate JDM scene back then, remember? And we were all
Yep.
about JDM. To me meant whatever you did to the car, the priority was performance, and it ended
Yep.
up having a certain look. You put a wide body on so you could fit bigger tires. You didn't put a wide
Yep.
body to be cool.
Form follows function.
Correct. So the form followed the function, but then we hit this weird point where show cars and JDM combined into what I call the SEMA build, which is a roll cage, big
Mm.
brakes, work wheels, wide body, wing, big engine, but then it's all wire tucked, polished, and never goes to a fucking racetrack. So
Uh-huh.
I found that frustrating and was always angry about it because I'm like, fuck, pick a side, bro. Are you a show car or a fucking performance car? Be one or the other. But this stance world kind of blended it all together, and
Yep.
I guess time attack and drifting got popular. So the influence of that styling went down to the people wanting their Instagram likes. So I kind of,
But it's just what happens if you're in the scene for long enough. That's the thing. Like we've seen ultimately we're going to see it all. Like
I don't know. I
you know,
like cars that don't fake what they are. Like if you're a show car, be a show car. If you want to be fast, be fast. Don't be both because you'll fuck up one or the other. You can't, no car can do it all. Well,
No.
take that back slightly. When it comes to modified cars, I don't believe one car can do it all. And that's why I have a time attack car, a tarmac rally car, a GDR street car, and then I'm going to have a GDR track car because the track car will be compromised as a road car. The one that's set up for drag will be compromised for handling. The time attack car can only fucking do time attack, but that's why it's really good at it because it just tries to do one thing. I think that's why I love cars that just, it's designed for that thing. And if it does that thing well, then it's fuck. It's even a mini truck. If a mini truck's designed to be the best mini truck, I'll go, fuck yeah, that's rad.
A fucking hot rod. I've always wanted a hot rod, man.
Really?
I want one so bad. I want like just a replica T-bucket, put an RB26 in it and really piss people off.
Now you're talking. And it has to be all-wheel drive as well.
Oh, fuck. But dude, I don't know. That's the thing. Like I think we've seen so many different scenes come and go. It probably does get more difficult for us to understand things because our values are we're very comfortable with what we put value into.
That's right.
Right. So then when someone does something that makes us scratch our heads, it's easier for us to just go, what the fuck's going on there? But actually then we're mature enough to go, well, each to their own.
But we don't get online and fucking comment on people's posts saying what a shitbox, because that's the
Yeah.
difference between being a hater.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed to have your own opinion, right? So someone says to me, what do you think of that? I go, do you want my motive video, social media news outlet opinion, or do you want Andrew Hawkins' opinion? I go, oh, well, yeah. I go, Andrew Hawkins fucking hates it. But you know what? If that's what they want to do, go for it. Who cares?
Yeah.
The difference between being a hater is you can have an opinion and that's fine, but you only become a hater once you give that opinion when no one's asked for it.
That's what I mean. I think it's the publishing aspect of it because, you know, if you've got a whole lot of people that have all the time in the world, like they can video game for 10 hours a day, they're going to break up their gaming by just hopping online, spitting some hate, blah, 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 blah. Oh, my job's done today.
Yeah.
Go back to gaming. And I think that's all it is, man. Like, you know, we hit on it earlier on in the podcast, but there was a time where it was really hard for you and I at that age, you know, being 15, 20 years old to publish fucking anything, bro.
That's right.
Like, there was no avenue for you apart from the school ground to talk shit.
That's right.
right?
I
Like
mean,
you couldn't just
forums you
hop
could talk a
on
bit of shit, but it wasn't
before
like
in forums,
publicly
yeah.
published. You have to publish. You had to join that forum, and the only people that saw it were, well, that forum, right? Like, and if you didn't own a Sylvia, why are you on nissansylvia.com? You know what I mean? Like it's,
Yeah.
and if you
Yeah, forums were the start of it. I mean, you publishing your opinion,
yeah,
but before that, man, there really was nowhere to go.
that's right.
Just say your car got featured in a magazine, and if people fucking hated it, you're never going to hear about it.
That's right. Well, you know how you back then, you know, the way that you showed the world you didn't like that car? Don't buy the fucking magazine. I don't like that car, so I'm not going to buy the mag. Like, it's just fucking that simple. And that's what people need to do now is if you scroll
Yeah.
down and you see it, like I've had people jump on with its new Supra, right? Just jump on and write shit like, that's an ugly piece of shit. Okay, cool. Well, do you feel fucking better for telling me that you don't like it? Who fucking cares what you
But they
think?
do though. That's a sad thing.
But then the
Like that's
next
a sad
person
thing.
writes, nice BMW. And I go, thanks, bro. How is that not
But
an
but,
upgrade from a Toyota? The next
but that's
person
the thing.
writes,
I
what a
think they'll
piece of
just get
shit.
to an age later on where they'll figure it out too.
You better,
Like
if you
that.
don't like Supras, ignore my post and keep
Yeah.
scrolling, because what will happen is people don't realize the smartest thing with social media is to do nothing.
Yeah.
Don't comment, don't look at it, don't anything. Ignore it. If you ignore shit, it goes away.
It's easy to say. Even easy to say, it's hard to do. Like I think,
know,
obviously,
very hard.
just after our podcast, I think I already know 100% that you're better at it than I am. Because, dude,
I
like,
mean, I'm not that good at it either. So
but my problem is like, if I see something I fucking hate, I comment on it, and then Facebook just shows me more of the shit that I hate. That's
exactly.
how it works. So I started like watching American politics about 2 months ago, and like I now see on Facebook all these people that are so anti-Trump or so anti-Biden that like it's ruined Facebook for me, because
Yeah.
I don't want to wake up in the morning, check out my Facebook, and see someone saying something really biased and stupid, like fucking stupid, and I just want to say something.
But it doesn't achieve anything.
No, 100%, because it's just gonna make it worse.
Just
It's gonna
makes it
make it
worse.
worse.
I
Yeah,
did the
yeah.
same
So
with COVID conspiracies. Whenever I saw a
yeah.
COVID conspiracy, I felt like, you know what? I'm going to
I
use
know, I
some
want to say
logic to
something.
explain to you. And
Yeah,
then they just argue back with you and call you a
I know,
sheep that's
I
uneducated. I'm
know.
like, motherfucker, I'm way more educated than you. Like,
No,
and you're
and
talking
then
about
all of a
topics
sudden
that are
you're in it,
nothing. And
and
then
you're
you're
in
in
it,
it and
and
you're,
it's
what do I do?
wasting your energy.
Wasting your,
And
yeah. So now I've just decided, you know what? 99% of the time, just say nothing. And then hopefully it goes away. Like, it's just, and that's what people need to learn about the internet. But you know what? Like most educated go-getters and people that work hard and have a good, they don't comment anyway. Think about who's commenting. Think about the type
dude,
of people that are.
you're that is so bang on that it's like that's what's sad about it. You see, that is what's sad about it. It's like, I think what was nice about running a graphic design forum in the 90s, and we were one of the first, and you have a whole lot of people that only hopped on the forums to help,
That's right.
because it was new and it was exciting
Yeah.
and we were there to help. But then what I realized after running it for 4 or 5 years or something like that, further down the track, you'd have the same fucking every year. You'd have the same bunch of newbies come along, new designers, and they'd ask the same old fucking questions again that we've been getting for years.
Yeah.
I'd see a question that'd be like, "Oh, guys, I'm just new to graphic design. How much should I charge per hour?" And we've been answering that question for years.
It's called search button.
Right, but as it got on, people just, you know how kids are with search now,
Yeah.
right? They don't even try. So I just remember that question popping up all the time, and it was one day specifically, well, one of the longest standing members, literally a guy that was there from the very start, that has spent years contributing great advice. He just replied, "You got to suck a lot of dick."
Wow.
That's how you get a raise. And it's like, man, I just pulled him aside, and I just remembered I was so upset, because
Yeah.
this is a guy that I really value. And the JDMST forum is the same shit. Like guys like Babalooey and Kevin, all these guys that are, we're the old school, we're the OG.
Yeah.
But then every year there's more kids coming on, and it just got like stance and zip ties, and let's just paint your wheels with something that's meant to be used from like Dick Smith for your fucking computer. And it just got crazy to a point where we couldn't contribute anymore. If anything, we just wanted to set up a separate group that was, you don't want to be elite, but you want to be like, well, it's too loud in the forums now. There's too many kids in
Yeah.
there. Let's all go for lunch and dinner, and as the OG. But that,
But worried we're going to say something grumpy like he did. Like, we could be excused for almost cracking it after this long in the scene. You know what I mean? And becoming
Mm.
almost bitter, but I'm trying my hardest not to. What a lot of
Yeah.
people don't see is
Yeah.
I still get 100 messages a week
Yeah.
from our
Do you
viewers.
try to reply to them all?
All of them, every single one,
Yeah,
unless
you're a
it's something
legend. Yeah.
retarded. Every single person that messages me and goes, "Hey, I watch all your videos. I've got a
Yeah.
GDR. I've got a couple of quick questions." Like I try, or I think I reply to all of them. Some you might miss, but I try to
Yeah.
reply, and everyone goes,
Yeah.
"Fuck,
Me
man,
too.
that takes so much time. Why would you do that?" I go, every single GDR owner in the world that I reply to with a little bit of help, he is now so motivated about working on his GDR, feels more comfortable about his build, and will tell 20 people to watch my channel because I helped him. If I
But
ignore
that's the
all
thing.
of
You
them,
never know where they're going to be either. I've always thought that. Like when I was working in Zen, because it was a physical shop, right? People could just roll in, and you get the kids, especially during school holidays. You
yeah,
get they can't even drive yet,
yeah.
So they're sitting there. The first question's always like, "Oh, how much power is your GDR making?" It's always it's always
Yeah,
the same
same
fucking
questions over
question.
and over again. Yeah,
But like, rather than be a dick, I'd give them the time, and you never know where they're going to be.
you never know. I had one guy that I helped online, and then I was at the Bathurst 12 and turns out he's an engineer for the Bentley team, right?
That's what I mean. That's
So
what I mean. And he
I got
remembered
to,
you, right? He
I got, yeah,
remembered.
he came straight over to our stand and was looking for me, and we hung out. He said, "Come into the Bentley." No one got in the Bentley pit because they were winning. But I got a full tour of the Bentley pit. I got a piece of carbon fiber signed by the whole race team, and now I've been
Yeah,
invited to their factory when I'm in the. Man, you never know who you're helping, and you should just
that's
help.
what I
It's
mean.
it's
That's what
hard
I
to
mean,
keep that
man.
enthusiasm after 20 years, I will admit, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just every single person that you help online in some way is just, and that's what I'm doing. I'm continuing what I'm trying to do with my YouTube channel. I'm not just making videos to make money or just making videos to do it my car. I want to help car enthusiasts make better
Inspiring, yeah.
choices and help
Inspiring
them build
people,
their
yeah.
cars. I feel good doing that. Now,
Yeah.
workshops are in the business of getting people to bring their car to them and make money, right? So they're not going to
Mm.
give out free advice nonstop, and they're too busy to do that. But I'm answering the DMs is kind of like an extension of making the YouTube channel. It's like I
Yeah.
follow it up. It just, and every now and then
Dude, yeah.
sometimes you get good support back from these people. They come to your events, they support what you do because you've taken that extra bit to actually help the scene, not just, I guess, as some people say, just someone that's trying to make money. And I think a lot of people in the car scene that get to know me have seen that I'm not in it. Like I've got to make money. I've got a business, right? But
No, it's fucking obvious you're
it's
passionate
not the
about it,
reason.
man.
But I still
It's
have people that
obvious. Yeah.
just from the outside looking in, take me the wrong way, which is easy to do. I'm outspoken, I'm opinionated, I'm loud, I'm out there. It's very easy
Yeah.
for someone to look at me, watch me, and go wanker straight away. And I get it.
Dude, because I'm so open about my like mental health issues and shit.
Yeah,
No one says that in public. No one replies back in public. Like it's
no,
good when you get comments under your video. It's good when you get comments on Facebook. But with these kind of topics, it's understandable. But it's a shame for me. But it's understandable that they prefer to send me a private message
mm,
because they don't want people to know that they have mental issues as well. They're too embarrassed about it. They don't want to be in the public sphere. So I get that, but so I do spend a lot of time replying to some of these people. Sometimes it's so fucking heavy, bro. I'm not qualified.
mm,
Like if someone's going through a really hard time in life and they're having suicidal thoughts or something, I'm just like, holy fuck, I'm really not qualified for this, and it can ruin my
maybe
day
you are.
almost just like that. Like come first thing in the morning, I'm checking out messages, and these people have no one to talk to, and talking to me, they feel comfortable, but I don't know who the fuck this is either. So it's
Yeah.
difficult, but I do make sure I reply back to everyone at the
Well,
same time, and you know
I think you got
say
to
what
be
I
all
can.
in or not at all when it comes to that kind of
Yeah, yeah,
topic. Like
yeah, I
you're
think so.
totally open with that stuff, right? And
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
what
yeah.
you've written and everything,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I've got some family members that have similar situations and been through
Mm.
similar things and have
Oh,
had
everyone
addictions
does,
and
right? Yeah,
depression and bipolar, and I've had a
yeah,
partner that had suffered from huge depression and anxiety. So like I
yeah.
actually know a lot more about it than most people would ever think. But when
Yep.
I went through my separation and stuff was wrong in my world, or I was broke or big problems or family problems, I actually don't post any of it. So unfortunately,
Yeah.
most people have just seen Andrew's got a wicked relationship with his kid, or a missus that he loves and he's awesome, or travel around the world and fast. So everyone's seen
Mm.
all the good stuff.
Mm.
And that's
Mm.
why I think some people as well, they see that and go, oh, wanker. Because they just
Yeah.
can't help it. You can't help but see a guy doing all this cool shit and going, oh, he doesn't
Yeah.
deserve that, or how come I haven't got that? They don't stop and go, what's below the level, the surface of the water? Where's the bottom 90% of that ice, that big fucking iceberg of all the work? Like it's.
Look, I don't think this will be the only podcast we ever do, because I think
Yeah,
like you said, we could do one about GTRs and talk about that But what I do like about this podcast is it's kind of like what I touched on within the first 5 minutes. Like, I think you're often misunderstood. Like, so am
Yeah,
I. I think,
you are. We both are.
anyone who's producing content like as prolific as we are, we're going to have a whole lot of people out there that just don't get it,
Yeah,
you know? And part of the reason why I was excited about doing this podcast with you was to let people who don't already know already that I respect what you do. I'm really, really happy that you're the guy that's running the end of month car meets,
and I
because like
appreciate that.
it could have been given to someone that I don't respect, and I don't know how I'd feel about it, man. I think I would feel really hurt about it, and I would feel really like it's a nightmare that I don't want to have to deal with, or I don't want it to
Mm,
see some news about it on Facebook or social media and be reminded that I don't like these people, Like,
that's why
I'm
I
just
asked you
so
straight away.
glad.
Yeah.
Well, even if I said no, I was powerless, but
I
it
wouldn't have
makes
done it.
me.
Flat out, I wouldn't have done it. If I had messaged you and said the Dragway wants me to start doing monthly meets, I
Mm,
would like to call it end of month meet. And if you said, sorry, bro, you can't, that's mine, I would have gone
yeah,
fine. Call it
yeah,
something
call it
else. I
something
wouldn't
else.
have done
Yeah,
it flat out. Other people
no,
probably wouldn't have
thanks,
given a
bro.
fuck or even asked, but I just no. For me, in this car scene, there's still a lot to be had for talking to other promoters, working with each other, and doing the
Yeah,
right thing. So
it's a small city. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think Sydney really needs a meet like that. Like,
yeah,
it just, if fuck, I always felt good about running them, even though some
mm,
fuckwits rocked up or whatever. I just still felt good that it existed.
yeah,
Like, I think it's really crucial. It's not your massive money show. It's not like you got to be there. It's only once a year kind of thing.
I'm
But
not
I
making
like
any
that
money, but
idea
yeah,
of a place that you can go to, and potentially it's like a forum but in real life, and it's
yeah,
potentially somewhere where you could meet people that could be friends for life. Like, that's
100%.
that's the thing for me. It's like you never know who you're going to meet. um and if you just balls up and start talking to someone about their ride, you'll probably get some really good energy. So
You don't get that as much as probably you used to
yeah,
pre-Facebook, like we did back in the day. I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
going to
yeah, yeah.
doing ignition hotspots where 1,000 cars would turn up, and you'd make it, you'd meet 200
Some
people that night. But
proper friends.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I think now a lot of young. I hate to say this, but I think some young people in the car scene are so used to talking on Facebook that talking in real life
Oh,
has become
dude.
difficult. So, but I love the meet.
Dude.
Oh, and one thing I'm enjoying is a new audience.
Hmm.
Doing the themed showcases and getting Rexys out and Toyotas out, and we're going to do a Euro one, and sort of. And there's a lot of people who are turning up to these meets who are like, I've never heard of Motive at all, and I'm like, you know what? Now that I think about it, if you've got a Stance 86, why the fuck would you have heard of Motive before when
Yeah.
you think that all we've got is 1,000 horsepower GDRs everywhere? Like, I get that we kind of, got labeled, but the good thing at end of month meet is we are actually seeing a bigger audience. We're meeting younger people, new generation. Like, I'm actually really enjoying that. So
Dude, I saw all those Hyundais parked together,
yeah,
the race model, and I was just like, that's what end of month mates is. It's
yeah,
about, like, the guy that I took had never met me before, but I'd been gaming with him for a while on video games, and he was really nervous. He had a clubby. And he's like, fuck, feel embarrassed driving a Holden to a JDM meet. I'm like, it's not a JDM meet, bro. That's the thing. So I
mate,
think over time that'll dissipate, Like, I think
yeah,
the whole concept being like, if you're a car enthusiast and you're proud of what you drive, come along, and
yeah.
and that's the thing.
I
Like, I
keep
think
telling
it's an
everyone
all
that
in.
there's no
Yeah.
standard. It's not. It's a meet. Anything can turn
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Anything can turn up.
exactly.
Anything is welcome. We have a showcase area,
Yeah.
and the reason I
I like
introduced the
that. Yeah.
showcase is so that as a spectator or passenger, if you pay your $10,
Mm.
I've always had a problem with car meets where there isn't a little something something to get me my money's worth, because you can go to a car park at Bunnings and have a car meet, right?
Well, that was
But
the idea for me, was to
yeah.
make it a car park. That's how it started, right?
But on the flip side, there was a lot of people who used to complain and say, I don't want to pay $10 to go look at a bunch of fucking P platers. Like, I want a couple
Yeah.
of good cars to be there. So I kind of went, well, I still want that same anything can come,
Yep.
but let's have a little showcase area with a theme, and we only give
I like
trophies
it,
out in
man.
there,
I
just
like it. I like
so
it.
that way you kind of like, if I paid $10 to go to one of the meets we've already held, I'd be stoked, because some of the fucking cars we had turn up were epic. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
money's worth. Like, and I think
Dude, I
that's
got
what
that
Motive's
feedback.
bringing to that. So
I did get that feedback. All those years running it, people always like, fuck, a lot of the bigger guys in the industry were like, Justin, you should make sure all the cool cars park together and stuff. Like, I'm like, it was different for me, because running the end of month meets was always in some random car park, and
mm,
what you paid to get in was like Fox Studios would charge you $7 to get in anyway. So
yeah,
that
that's
is
right.
what you had to pay. But the thing is, I loved seeing shit boxes parked next to something that was worth $300,000 or $400,000. I just think if you drove the shit box, you'd be sitting there taking photos of it next to this car, and
Yeah,
it's that feeling of like all inclusion, you know. And I liked that about it. But again, I'm just such a stubborn fuck, man. Like you know, like when I saw how you're running it now with all the hot cars all together around your stall like that, it makes perfect sense. It's just that I was just so stubborn that I'm
I
really
get it.
hard to work with like that.
I get
I'm
that some
really, you know,
people don't like that though. Like I get that some people rock up and feel like, oh, how come the good cars are there? I'm like, well, look,
yeah.
one
You
angle, one
can't you
attitude is
can't win
everyone's
either
equal.
way.
But I hate to say this, but I was 21 with a stock S14 with a kit and wheels on it. There was nothing fucking special. And back then, fuck, I had to work hard to be friends with the guys with big cars or be around all that. Right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I get
that's
you.
just life. Someone has a better car than you. Someone's much stronger than you. Someone's better looking. Someone's smarter. Someone's richer. Right? That's just life. Accept
No,
it. Like
I like
it's
it, bro. I like what you're
it's
doing.
it's
I thought
it's
it looked really cool, man. Considering COVID and all that shit. Like I
oh
said,
yeah,
when I
fuck.
took a piss up the top of the stairs and I looked back down on it, I'm like, this still looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah, man. I'm
You know,
pretty proud of
it
it.
still
So
looked really good, man. And I could see there was a good vibe. It was pretty cold that night actually, but
yeah, it
I
was
could still,
actually.
you know, I met a couple of people. I met a couple of people that I've never met before, and I got to see some old faces. That's one of the
Yeah.
best things.
We
Just
actually
like
got a lot of
seeing.
old faces back out actually with the meets we've been doing, which is good. Just that's just comes from that friendship of and being in the car scene for so long. Is
That's it.
we've and I guess I could touch on this topic very quickly. Is brand recognition is not just how many numbers you have. And I'll use an example. Some Facebook pages have 1 million likes, and if they hold a car event, no one turns up. We have
Mm,
75,000 likes on our Facebook page. Fuck all, because I don't post shit for likes. I post shit that we do. That's it, right?
hmm.
So but we can hold an event and get 5,000 people at GDR Festival because our reputation for our brand is not purely based on the numbers on our Facebook page. And I think the world's starting to realize that again. Like having 1 million followers on Instagram doesn't actually fucking make you successful anymore because there are
No,
plenty of chicks
not
with
at
1
all.
million followers. And what do they got 1 million followers do? Dudes that write, hey, nice vagine, and that's it. Like, what are they
Yeah.
actually selling? What are they doing as a brand? What are they? So I think people are
It's
starting to
it's
realize
proven, man. I
again.
prove it all the time. Like I lately I've just been testing it, and some girls that have huge followings will tag me in a post, and I'll probably get maybe 5 more
Yeah,
followers.
that's right.
That's how savage it is
It
out
is,
there
man,
now. It is
100%. And I'd
dead.
like to think we've been around long enough now that people trust our brand. They like if we say
Mm.
we're going to do a new event, I'm going to do a new event next year. I'm going to do a Japanese car festival, same layout as GDR festival, but all Japanese cars, right? If we
Yep.
do that, people will go because they just go, well, we know what sort of events Motive does and we trust them. But if
Yep.
I was a Facebook page built off the back of stolen content and just posting things for likes, and we said we're going to do an event, everyone's going to go, well, who the fuck are you guys to do an event? You've never done
Yeah,
one before.
exactly.
What did
Which
you
was
say?
happening for a while there. It
It
was
was.
happening for a little bit there when I was running Zen. There were a whole lot of blow-ins and people that just because it was such a big time for Facebook and everyone
Yeah,
was getting so much reach because they were giving you the reach for
that's right.
free. You know, so a whole lot of people popped up from the woodwork. I'm like, who the fuck are you guys? What the
Mm,
fuck have you guys done? What are you driving? Nothing. And
yeah.
you know, it just started to eat away at us on the sides, but we just had to keep our heads down and do what we do. But a whole lot of them ended up fucking off anyway. But
Oh, there's
yeah,
still a
there's
few
always
people in
going
the
to be that.
scene I wish would fuck off, to be honest. But I'm not going to say any names. Um, but like, look at it
But
this way. I actually, part of me, and this could come across very wankerish, but part of me hopes that people in the scene at the moment actually respect the fact that we're trying to fucking do shit during COVID. And I'm not,
yeah,
if you like, you can work out how much money we're getting from an end of month meet with 500 people, right? And if you know anything about the dragway and what it costs to turn those lights on and open the doors, you know I'm
yeah,
not making any fucking money,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right
People
now,
used to
while
have a go
during
at me
COVID,
for that shit too. Yeah,
yeah,
all the time.
I'm doing it because the dragway really wanted something happening. I really
Yeah,
wanted something happening. So
yeah,
like fuck it, let's do it. Like if it
yeah.
does well and COVID drops and we make some money later, great, bonus. But if it doesn't, whatever, let's just do it. But so hopefully people respect the fact that during COVID we're still doing shit because we care about
It's
the
like you
car.
said. The people who do respect it, they're just not going to comment. That's all.
They don't. You're right.
You know, it's the people who don't get it that comment. Like when we had cops set up defect station down the road at the end of one night, the amount of comments on Facebook that I read that said Justin and Zen are in on it. We worked with the police to set up that defect station,
That's
and that we
pathetic.
were making money off the defects.
That's dumber than COVID fucking conspiracies.
This is what I mean. And it's like when I'm reading that shit, it's like I can't deal anymore. I just can't deal. You know, I'm gonna hit the eject button, man. I'm out. This is
That's
just like
proper dumb.
next level stupidity, and I'm just like, once upon a time, maybe someone asked a stupid question because they were shy and they were nervous,
Yeah.
but now it's like it's being asked like with attitude plus and just like
Oh, dude.
fucking fire, man. And it's like I love fighting fire with fire, but only if my competitor's worth it now, you know.
But you have to remember, and I don't even know if I'll get the quote right, but ad lib, like if you argue with someone stupid, you'd never win. You know what I mean? Like you can, an argument, an actual argument you can win needs to be done with someone else who's intelligent and can actually listen to logic and reason, right? You can't argue with a
Yeah.
moron. Like, and so
Well,
for
that's the
moron
thing. Like, I don't
arguments, like,
even
you
think
can't
I
win.
hate stupid people anymore. I'm starting to think that I'm actually, you
I
know,
like them.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm scared of in life, and I actually been desperately grasping at straws, trying to think what it is. And I actually think I'm scared of stupid people, man, because it's like chances are, if I was murdered tonight, it'd be murdered by some stupid cunt.
Yeah, and the worst part is there's nothing wrong with being stupid, but the scary ones is people who don't know they're stupid. No, I'm serious. Like I know, I hate to say it, I've got friends who know they're dumb, right? And they're some of the best people
Yeah,
because
no.
they're fun.
Yeah.
They're way more chilled than we are when it comes to thinking about shit. Like, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
great.
yeah,
The
yeah.
scary thing is stupid people that think they're super smart. They're scary, and
It's
they'll
fucking
never know
scary,
that.
yeah.
They'll always be that way.
Hmm.
And we sound like condescending assholes already, even just
Yeah,
saying.
well, no, I just think you could
Yeah,
quote us out of
quote
context
us
so
out of
easily now,
context
but
here
yeah,
very easily. But
yeah.
it, like you said, just comes back to like, why argue with someone that can't be reasoned with? Like, you can't
No,
reason
no,
with
you
you
can't
can't
win.
reason with a lot like a fucking feral dog, right? Like, you just
Yeah.
doesn't listen to logic. And some people we try to argue with, we fight them with fire, we're going to lose. And the easiest
Yeah.
way to go, the easiest way with them is you don't even acknowledge them. That's the best way to beat them.
Dude, I'm still not there yet. Even after all these years, like I said, just 2 or 3 days ago, I started fighting with this 15-year-old or 10-year-old kid on YouTube comments. I'm like, three comments in, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Justin? Like,
Kill them
what
with
are you
kindness, man.
doing?
Kill them with
Just
kindness.
stop. And so
I
I
kill them with
stopped,
kindness.
and fuck.
You know what I do to people that have given me heaps of shit my whole life when they suddenly decide they want to come to my events? No
Mm,
worries, mate. See you there.
exactly.
More than welcome.
That's how you do it.
I just don't acknowledge there was ever a problem, even if I have to.
Yeah, no.
I've had people who fucking hate me, block me online, and abuse me, everything. And then out of the blue, one day they ring me and
Next
go,
minute,
"Oh, hey man, you reckon I can? I hate to. Yeah, man, of
I
course,
know.
more than welcome.
Yeah,
What do you want to hang
exactly.
with?
I'm
What
the
do you need?"
same.
And then they look at you
Yeah.
like, "Why the fuck did I ever not like this guy?"
Yeah,
And
I'm the
it almost
same.
confuses them. They can't work out why they didn't like you after all that. And there's more to be had in, and it's not even a business thing. It's just a personal, I call it karma, whatever you want. But if someone fucking hates me, gives me heaps of shit, then one day they want to come to my event, I'd rather just say, yeah, no worries. It's easier to say yes, have them come back and be a friend and a supporter than what it is to tell them to fuck off, fuck you. I finally get my revenge on you by saying no.
No, I'm
You know what I mean?
100% with you there, man. Like one of the hugest haters that we had on the JMST forums. One night I got so sick of it. I'm like, you, me, Krispy Kremes, let's go. Right, midnight meet. I didn't know what was going to happen. We're going to fight. I don't know. Rocked up. He's got a gunmetal grey R32 GTR. I've got a gunmetal grey R32 GTR. We rocked up. We parked head to head, and we just went, "Hey, how's it going, man?" And we just ended up having fucking donuts,
Yeah,
coffees, great fucking conversation,
yeah,
and we've never fought since.
that's right.
It
It's
was
very easy to be
fucking cool.
misunderstood in the world of social media. Some people will watch a YouTube video of me and just for no reason other than how I sound to them, will just go, that guy's a fucking wanker. But we all do it.
Just
I'll
yeah.
watch a news presenter and go, oh, I fucking can't stand that guy for no reason. I've never met him.
Yeah, but we don't go out of our way to
That's
fucking.
right. The difference is we
That's the
don't go out of our way
difference. That's
to
the
tell them that they're a
difference.
fuckwit. So, and you know what? If people don't like me, then that's just life. Like you can't do anything interesting if you try to make everybody happy.
Look. That's the thing. Like, I think you and I have caught up so many times over the years where we tend to go down this rabbit hole of talking about it, and I think a long time ago, like the times that we were talking about haters, or you would bring up some haters, I'd sort of walk away from it at that stage in my life. I was kind of like, why does Andrew talk about the haters? Like, he shouldn't worry about them, you know. And I kept that's how I thought.
Mm,
But like doing the podcast with you today, I kind of purposely did want to talk about it.
yeah.
One guy even asked the question on my Facebook to ask you about how do you deal with the negative feedback now that you're more seasoned, right? And how did it used to affect you? I think we've covered that and more,
Yeah,
and I think it's a more human side of you. Like I know it's scary to come on a podcast with me because I'm gonna be open, and I expect you to be as well. And I think a
100%.
lot of people would be scared to say, come on and just talk openly. But I really appreciate it, and I wanted to put it out there as well that I respect you and what you do. So if anyone has any questions, at least it's in a video.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Hey, and the
Like
thing
that.
is,
So
people probably wouldn't even picture us as being friends. I've had lots of people go, "You're friends with Justin Fox." I go, "Yeah, man, always
that's
have
what I
been. We've
mean.
always got along. We've always respected each other's work." Oh, but you guys
That's
are
what I
nothing
mean. Yeah.
alike. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think I've even said to a couple of people, like, I've said to their faces, like, you misunderstand Andrew. Like, you know, you don't
yeah,
get it. So,
like Zen, right?
yeah,
You might not
it's
get it.
okay if you don't get it, man. That's the thing. It's okay. Like, you don't have to go and spit hate about someone if you don't understand what it is that
Right.
they're into. So, let's wrap it up, bro. But
Yeah,
like,
man.
it's been good to hang out with you today.
You too, bro. Get your
Yeah.
GDR out again, would you?
Oh fuck, man. Now you sound like one of those young kids.
No, just so we can go for a drive, whatever.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I think it's one of those things where I feel like life is long. Like I know
Yeah.
that now. I'm not fucking going anywhere anytime soon now. So I know life is long. So I'm sprouting out some gray hairs, and as soon as I have some flames on the side of my head like you, I'm sure I'll be rolling around in that GTR again. But I've got plenty of time to drive it. I'm just so glad I've never sold it, man. Like there's been times close to accepting some offers and close to selling it. And if anything, Charles Carr from Auto Salon, he hopped on the phone. He was overseas and he hopped on the phone. He's like, "Don't fucking sell it, Justin. You will fucking
Yeah.
regret it." And I've
He's a
never had
smart man.
to. Yeah, he is a smart man, very smart man, and I've never had to think about it ever since. So, 100%, I'll get it out to an end of month meet.
How about you
But
bring it to GDR Festival, 28th of November?
yeah, actually,
On my stand, done.
fuck, that would be good. Hey.
Yep.
See, that's the thing. I'd be sure. If I rocked up to an end of month meet, I probably would just park it really far away from all your fancy cars.
I'm putting your car on my stand at GDR Festival. How does that sound?
Yeah, no, sounds good, man. Look,
Do
if
that.
it's not this year, it's next year. I know you're not going anywhere either, so I expect you to be running awesome events, and even more so going forwards once all this shit pisses off.
Like my GDRs, I don't want to sell my events. I like doing them too much.
Yeah. Hang on the line, okay? I'm gonna hit stop recording now, but hang on the line for a second afterwards. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
See you, everyone.
Yeah, catches.